We are live. Can everyone hear me and Alan?
Yes, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear us? I don't know. I don't know why the preview shows the thing that I'm sharing. But anyways, so everybody, can you hear us? You can see the screen there. Can y'all hear us? And how's the volume? How's audio and so on? Okay, yes to audio. That sounds good. Okay, so the yes to audio. I'll go over here so they can see us in big right here. MES loud, guest low. Okay.
Oh, am I low?
I don't know why it also says I can hear. So I'm loud. He's low. Is that true? Mike is.
Okay,
Mike is too loud. Okay, so what I'll do is it does show that it's maxing out for some reason. Desktop audio. So what I'll do is I'll lower this. How is this now?
Oh yeah, how is my voice coming through?
Yours is alright. I'll just lower mine so it matches. How about now? I'm typing in theirs.
Yeah, how's my voice now?
Yeah, because I could lower my thing. Okay, Mike, I could lower my mic more if I need be. How's my mic now, guys? I'm gonna lower it until it's level with his. Because I can hear his fine. Same level. All right, same level. They said same level. Okay, that's good.
Okay, all right, great.
Okay, same level. Perfect, guys. So that is good. Let us know. Okay, now it's good. Yeah, I just lowered it directly from my Livestream software. All right. So yeah, I'll just here's what I'll do is okay. So everything's going. We have 9 people on the stream and so on. We got a whole lot of peeps. I'm just gonna make this down like this. So what I'll do is just. Bear with me, everybody. Okay, so we are back in the live stream software. What I'll do is I'll just make this bigger like this because I can already see it. All right, so yeah, we are today joined by. I'm gonna stop sharing the screen. Stop presenting. So guys, I'm joined by Alan Forrest right here, legendary painter, activist, actor as well. He got everything going. I actually saw him in his acting work. Is pretty wild. All right, let's see. I'm gonna do auto. Just 1 second. Tiled. I just don't know why it's doing this. I don't know how to make it like both of us showing our face. But anyways, so that is I'll pin myself only. Nope, that doesn't work. Pin myself only. Okay, so there it is. So it's me and you side by side, right there. Yeah, and Alan, if you want to say hi to the crew and so on.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, so Alan, this is his 3rd live stream with him, and yeah, it's gonna be epic. I think the first one we did was just about I think the COVID cartoons and whatnot, activism.
Yeah, I think so. And the second one we tackled Qigong and some Wilhelm Reich. And
yeah,
stuff.
some Oregon energy. And speaking of Wilhelm Reich, when I was at Hutchison's house, they actually do some Wilhelm Reich type weather modification.
Oh, really?
That's what they actually do, and they also know other people that also tinker with that as well.
So he's got a cloud. He's got a cloud buster.
Yeah, that's what he's got apparently. But he's got his own like setup there. It's like intermixed with his radio frequencies and some Wilhelm Reich type setup as well. Will you?
Cool.
Yeah. So it was one of the most surreal like events in my life. That was just it's like seeing them and they have their house. She designed a giant like dome. That's her house.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. It was absolutely wild. So I'll discuss that later in the I think in once I do a solo stream. So right now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the usual housekeeping, and then we'll get right into the show on the JFK stuff.
Sure.
And we'll see what we come across. All right. So Timothy Sullivan's in the house. We have a whole bunch of people in the house, guys. And always let me know if the audio and whatnot's good. So what I'll do is I'll share my screen just so you can see what I'm seeing. I'm gonna share this right here. What I'll do is I'll share window. Yeah, I'm going to share this window. It's going to go into an infinite loop for you, and we're back. Okay, Jeremy Bartlett. Yo, I'm ready. I'm hungry. Single and ready to Pringle. Okay, so Jeremy's got, he's ready to go. Okay, so basically, guys, MES Livestream 64, JFK Assassination Deep Dive with Alan Forrest. Okay, and then Metal Miner also says he'll send DIY instructions to build a cloud buster. Oh, to Telegram. Okay, so he apparently has the instructions as well. All right, guys. So this painting right here is actually done by Alan Forrest. Absolutely amazing. So Alan Forrest, aka Art Graphican, joins the show to go over his decades-long research into the John F. Kennedy assassination or alleged assassination, depending on which spectrum you fall under, people fall under. And what really happened that day of November 22nd, 1963, and that's yesterday. And what's also interesting about yesterday is that's Andrew Johnson's birthday.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and my soccer coach's birthday, so that's quite interesting conundrum there. Also, here's links to Alan Forrest, his Hive accounts, Dissident Minds, Odyssey, and whatnot. And also, let's go MES housekeeping. I'm going to streamline all this stuff. As usual, guys, go to MES links, go to the donate button, become a super fan, and so on. MES links got everything there. Become super fan. Okay, L Empire says if you have any questions about JFK, ask me. I'll try to give the best answer. I've researched this over 30 years. All right, interesting. So we have another expert in the chat there. Going over later. Also, the next part is November 30th. Quote, debate with a mainstream, quote, debunker, Blue Bacon about the tiny rebel pile on 9/11. So the guy that did a couple hit pieces about, on me about the, quote, planes is a mainstream debunker. Yeah, apparently he's okay to do a live chat or a, quote, debate about the tiny rebel pile. Again, there's no way to spin it. The rebel pile is tiny, so we'll see if he's able to withstand or withhold his lies for that long. All right, and troubleshooting, blah, blah, I'll update these later. But also, here's your painting right here. So this is an absolutely amazing painting you did, Alan.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is oil colors or whatnot. If you can give us the technical details of how you did this one.
Well, that was... Oh, well, it's oil paint on canvas, but I think this is the Mary Moreland picture. It's a famous picture that she took. And of course, up above there is the kind of the grassy knoll area. The picket fence would be more towards the far left. Actually, the picket fence really isn't in that. It would be a little farther along. But yeah, that is supposed to depict when Kennedy is falling over. He's been hit several times, and his wife is trying to figure out what's going on before she gets back on the trunk of the car.
1 second, I'm just gonna get to someone's knocking my door, but you could entertain the crowd while I go and get the door.
Well, now I gotta entertain you guys. A lot of people talk about the knoll, and what I want to hopefully get into today is there was a researcher named Mark Lane, and Mark Lane got it very notorious as this so-called great JFK researcher. And to me, he's really kind of more like a Alex Jones. He's somebody who drops some great intel out there, and then he gets your attention, gets credibility, and then he leads you in the wrong direction. And one thing that Mark Lane always did was focus everything on the knoll, that was the key place. And I think we can't really believe a lot of what Mark Lane said, even though he made some very good documentaries. He dumped out some great information, but I think one of the best researchers really was Mae Brussel. She was the one that really exposed a lot of what happened in the assassination, and also exposed Mark Lane for what he was.
All right.
You're back. Good.
All right, yeah, I'm back. Yeah, so entertaining them. Very interesting stuff right here. Mary Mormon, a lot of people are going into the chat. Anyways, we'll go over that later. And what I want to show is also your other painting of. I have the link opened. I'm gonna go. So right here, there's another painting you made of Lee Harvey Oswald. So what I did, I put in this giant setup here. I put all your links, images, and so on, and also made that giant 13 gigabyte flash drive of JFK files and photos and videos all in here. So you can go, everyone, go to tinyurl.com/JFKAllen, and what you'll see is all this right here. And there's the JFK images one. You can see the full painting of the motorcade one. Here's a full one. It's going to just take a while to load. So there's a full image there. Yeah, so that's a full image, and there's the let's go to the Lee Harvey Oswald one. So yeah, the painting. This is absolutely amazing. These paintings you've done. All right, so that's this one here. That's Lee Harvey Oswald, another epic painting by the very talented Alan Forrest. All right, and so these are all the links right here. So I put the Mae Russell radio show. So yeah, you've talked a lot about her, and then yeah, also you also said that she's like Alex Jones, but not controlled opposition.
No, she's not like Alex Jones.
I meant like the radio stuff, but not controlled opposition. Like similar how Bill Cooper is kind of like he's Alex Jones archetype, but not the the lying.
Yeah, Bill Cooper actually used to mention Mae Brussell. He used to listen to her, and in a way, Cooper kind of took over for Mae Brussell. She died of cancer, and possibly could have been fast acting cancer. I think it was the late 80s. I think it was 87 when she passed. But she started in the early 1970s with Dialogue Conspiracy, and eventually it became her own radio show. And she was going into all the different characters involved in first the Kennedy assassination and then the RFK assassination, and it just went on and on and on. And she exposed so many people that were involved. It's truly amazing.
Wow, nice. So she was well ahead of the time, and so she died literally like
88.
Yeah, 88, same year I was born. So, okay, McGew 1990 says MES mic is too loud. Got lowered one more time. I have it on mute. I don't know. I have it on like literally the lowest ever. Okay, how's my volume now, guys? I made it lower. Like there's something going on. I think it's with Google Meet. It just automatically. How is it now? I lowered it. Yeah, how is it now? So turn down your volume down. Okay, MES mic is too loud. I just want to fix that up because it's an issue that it's reoccurring. I tried different fixes and then it works sometimes and doesn't later. Yeah, so here's Mae Russell there and so on. Okay, Ogford Doggy says perfect now. Okay, so its audio is perfect. So we're good to go. No, it's great stuff. So what I want to do now, I want to finish. Actually, before we dive into all of this JFK stuff, I just want to go over a few random topics here. So what I started doing was every live stream I would have a poll, or a week before I'd have a poll, and then see what the audience thinks. And so the current poll right now is a MES poll on World War III, and then during the live stream, what I'll do is I will actually go and stop the poll. So the last poll I had, I'll share this window, just because you don't see the window. So what I'll do is, just so you can see it, share, present something else, window. Let's see if the MES telling. Okay, so open a Telegram. So you can see my Telegram, and so this is the poll I had. I'm gonna stop the poll now. Stop the poll, and this is MES poll. When will World War III officially start? Yeah, so we had 44% voted 2025, and then 12% voted 2030, and then after 2040, 4%, and then 40% said won't happen. So that's a big. The big ones are 2025 next year and won't happen. So what's your thoughts? So what is your thoughts there? Alan, when do you think World War III will or won't start?
Well, it depends. With COVID, I mean, there was no health emergency, but they made everyone think there was. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't think they actually need a war. They just need to make everyone think there is. So I guess I'm kind of leaning more towards the bottom one. It won't happen, but on the other hand, they'll make you think it'll happen. So I'm sort of in the top and the bottom group.
Okay. Well, the thing with wars, because even though it's not really countries, I think they're behind the scenes they're still friendly with each other. But I do think that there will be a war similar to World War I and II, where there's actual killing.
There would probably. That's what I mean. In order to pull it off, in order to make people believe it, I mean, they'd actually have to kill people.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. That's what I mean by World War III. So it's different than the COVID one, because again, you can lock down just based on fear and whatnot. But this one, there's still bombs being thrown off, so that's kind of what I mean. But there is no real danger of of the world blowing up. I think it's just the usual. Like even World War One and Two, there was no real threat of it ending. I think it was all part of the script. Yeah, so World War III, my prediction is the 2030s when it starts. So votes are, I'll just type this right here, votes are cast, World War III starting in 2025, or won't happen. Alright, so I'll do this, and there's the poll. Alright, so that's the poll there. And I think Methyl Miner put in the chat, or organize how to make your own Cloudbuster and so on. Alright, that's cool stuff. Alright, so now what I'll do is I'll go back to my normal, present something else. I'll just present the tab right here, just go back here. Alright, so I'm going back into the setup. Oh yeah, then the next part is I wanted to read out just a quick notes on my meeting with John and Nancy Hodgson. I'll go over this in depth when I do a solo stream in a couple weeks. Yeah, so meeting John and Nancy Hutchison was surreal and absolutely unforgettable experience. I've learned a lot about the Hutchison effect, electromagnetism, electromagnetic radiation, free energy power cells, weather control, and the overall dedication and focus that John Hutchison had, which made possible discovering these amazing effects. Yeah, so he would be literally in the lab like most of the day and just tinkering with random stuff, random equipment, heavy equipment. And he's 79 years old and he's lifting like 50-pound wheels like it's nothing with one in an awkward setup, and he's like can't move. He moves slowly. His knees are like busted from surgery, but he still can just maneuver things like it's nothing. Like he's one of the strongest old people I've ever seen, or the strongest. I've never seen someone like that. And yeah, and they gave me some of their power cells. Yeah, so they gave me some power cells. I actually can show this right here. It's on my table. I'll bring some here.
Okay.
Alright, so put the headphones on. So here's a couple of the power cells. I'll show it on this, and I will stop sharing. So here's a couple of the power cells that they brought me. And these ones were made by Nancy Hutchison. And basically you connect some wires to it and you can get a voltage reading. And she made it a couple of years ago. And one of them gives like 1.25 volts, just going forever. It's like, so basically, yeah, like this one here. You can see it, Alan? You can see this power cell? You can see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this one right here, just connect two wires. It gets 1.2 volts. So that's like, so regular battery is like 1.5 volts. That's just the AA, I think. I think it's 1.5. Plot. I think I have a battery somewhere here. What are these ones? This AAA gives out 1.5. So this one gives out 1.5. So basically, it's literally a battery that just doesn't waste. It goes on for a couple of years. And John actually has one that's 30 years ago that was made. And,
wow.
and it gives out like anywhere from like negative. He said depending on the temperature and so on, anywhere from negative 1,000 to plus 1,000, and sometimes it's zero, sometimes it's not. It's basically whatever the radiant energy is coming in, it like amplifies it and so on. So there's some working theories on that, but it's absolutely amazing. So once I have settled down, I'll and get this all set up. What I'm thinking of doing is making a permanent live stream. So basically, I'll have a camera set up on it, live stream forever. This is just permanent, day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, and it's connected to either a voltage reading and a small light bulb or calculator or device, and just to show people it's running forever. And it's like that's it, and then take it to a UBC professor and be like, just look at this video. It's been running for a couple of years. Do something about it. like just do something. So it's fascinating stuff. So that's something I'll be looking on in the coming future. All right, I'll get back into this setup right here. Okay, let's see the next one, and then we'll get straight into the. We'll dive straight into the JFK stuff, because again, JFK's the anniversary is yesterday, so it's a big event, and I think next year as well we may need you back here. So they gave me some of their power cells, and I will look to make a permanent live stream documenting their free energy voltage readings and powering of a small light bulb or calculator. Stay tuned, and also scroll through my Telegram to see my journey in California. All right, so epic stuff there, and yeah. So Alan, this is all your files right here, and then you showed me a whole bunch of stuff here. You also said where to watch, and we will go through that during the stream. I'll have it ready. I'll have your giant documents, your files ready, so you can point me to go and look at them. And because before this, I was hoping to go over this, but I didn't have that much time to get through this. And also, I was told to watch some documentaries, and then I kind of got this JFK X one I was sent by Methyl Miner in the chat, and it's very very interesting. It's very compelling. So that's when I put a bunch of notes on there, and we can go and discuss that there. So without further ado, I'll bring it over to you, and let me know how do you want to start this, Alan.
Well, I thought first I would just talk about my own experience because I was a third grader at the time when this happened. All right.
I wrote Alan was in high school or elementary school. I forgot which one. I'll update this right now.
Elementary school.
Yeah, so grade 3. I'll put that right here.
Yeah, I was in Eastgate Elementary, which is in Bellevue, Washington, right by Seattle. I was mostly educated in the States, and we were in class. It was sometime in the morning, late morning, and our teacher was Miss Grove. She was up in front of the class giving a lesson, and all of a sudden, over the intercom in the classroom, the principal, Mr. Loring, came on, and he just said, President Kennedy has been assassinated in Dallas, Texas. I mean, it was a really short announcement. And what we saw was our teacher, Miss Grove, immediately burst into tears. And we're just little kids, sitting there, and we've never seen our teacher cry, let alone just burst into such an emotional display. They sent us home. The flag went to half-mast, and we were at home for 4 days. They just shut the school down, and there was nothing but broadcasts of whatever news was going on in Dallas and the investigation, and that's all that was on the TV. All regular programming, at least in my area, was completely canceled. So it was quite a, it was a huge event.
Oh, wow. So it was canceled for 4 days, the school.
Yeah, we were at home. I remember it as 4 days before we went back.
Well, that's amazing. That's great insight. Yeah, it's similar to like all these big psyops, which I call them psyops. Whether he was killed or not, it's a psyop. It's similar to 9/11, and then the COVID one is always these big lockdowns. Like in 9/11, they had to shut down all the airspace everywhere, and ground all the planes, so no one's allowed to go fly anywhere. And COVID had big lockdowns everywhere, so it's kind of like drives home the point, like we're all in this together.
Right. Absolutely. And I wanted to mention, I went to Dealey Plaza, I guess it would have been in the late 1990s. And the interesting thing about Dealey Plaza, for me anyways, was after you've seen all these documentaries and all these news, you imagine this place as being large, as being really big. But when I went there, I felt like I was standing on a model. Like it was really, the plaza itself isn't all that large. And it was the most peculiar thing because it's a legendary place, you get this feeling that it's going to be immense, but it didn't appear that way to me. And also I went to where the picket fence was and stood behind it. And they had, at this point in the late 90s, it's like they just left it and they didn't touch it. They didn't even repaint it or anything. This thing was falling apart. I don't even know. It may not even be there anymore. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and then there's people. This was not on November 22nd, understand. This was just a regular day there. There are people standing around, or they were at the time, telling you about the President Kennedy assassination and passing out brochures or information, or, it's kind of like an ongoing tourist attraction where people are, I guess trying to make a little extra money on the side. But so that was, and when I went to the museum, as I recall, the way I remember it was they wouldn't let you get over to the window that Oswald was supposed to be at. The way I remember it was they had it set up as though there was a sniper's nest there, and you could see it across the room. But they had it all. They had the sixth floor school book depository museum where Oswald was supposed to have been.
Yeah. Yeah, the Dealey Plaza one, I do want to visit there one time. Do you have a video of you like walking around it just to see how it all looks like?
No. That was before
Yeah.
before it was easy to carry, like a smartphone around. They didn't have them at that time.
Yeah. And one time I was trying to look for the 3D model, but I seen it a while ago, but I didn't have time to look through it right now. But I could probably do it in the background. Someone made a 3D model where you can actually go and look at the whole scenario. And there's like, I think it's an online and a video, and you can see the full location, full the alleged shooters, alleged shooter, or shooters, or if there was any shooting.
I really wonder about that because I was telling the audience, Mark Lane is a guy who did he did some really interesting documentaries, but I think Lane actually worked for the same people that killed Kennedy. And his job was to dump good intel out, get credibility, and then lead people in the wrong direction. Mae Brussel initially talked really well of Mark Lane because she was very impressed with the material that he brought out. But then when they would go to these conferences for JFK assassination researchers, Mark Lane would be there, and Mae Brussel, who was pretty well known, she would go and try and talk to Mark Lane. And every time she went into a room where Lane was and Lane saw her, Lane would leave the room. He'd run. He would not talk to Mae Brussel. And after a while, she started to see through this guy. So, yeah, he was involved in all sorts of things. He was also involved in covering the Jim Jones, Jonestown. Remember when all the people drank the Kool-Aid down in Guyana?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he wrote a book about that. And that really, I think, was a CIA mind control operation. They had a hospital there. And Mae Brussel also investigated that. But what I wanted to bring up was that how the whole JFK thing started for the assassination conspiracy research. It started because they had these 26 volumes that came from the Warren Commission hearings. And they published these. And you could get your hands on them. In fact, I sent you some links.
Yeah.
Somebody has done digital versions, and so you guys can download them if you want.
And
you also get the Warren report, which is in all those JFK files. And people read the Warren report, which is just one book. But then they went to look at the 26 volumes. There were some people that actually got them and read them, like Jim Garrison, who was a district attorney in New Orleans, and Mae Brussel did it, and Penn Jones Jr. did it. I mean, they read them. They went through these 26. That's a lot of reading. And what they started to realize was that the Warren Commission book, the Warren report, it wasn't the same as the hearings. They had changed some things. And then people started to wonder, well, is there some kind of cover-up going on here? Why have they changed this? And so when you go into the hearings and you'll see times where it's obvious they should be asking a certain question. It's just obvious. And they don't ask it. They just skip over it and they move on. Yeah, that's the thing. You can download all the hearing, the 26 volumes. But I'm not sure if all 26 are there, but there's a lot of them there. So that is how the whole conspiracy thing started. From the actual government documents themselves, not from somebody coming up with some theory separately. It was because they realized there were many times in the Warren Commission hearings that they should have asked questions they didn't ask, and that also sometimes, like when Jack Ruby is being interviewed, he keeps stopping the interviewers and trying to get them to rephrase the question so that he doesn't expose certain things. And it's so obvious, it's right there in what they recorded. And Alan Dulles, who was, of course, the CIA guy that was on the commission, he said, yeah, we got to publish it, or otherwise people are thinking that we're covering something up. And they were worried. Well, people will read it. They'll scrutinize it. And Alan Dulles said, don't worry, people will never read it. Well, they read it. There's enough people out there. So that's really how it started, was the actual government documents themselves.
Yeah, and when did the commission? When did these get released? These files, like how many years after the JFK?
You're talking about these digital ones?
Or no, just the original ones, the audio.
If you look up the Warren, I just saw it this morning. I think it was a couple of years after, maybe 64, 5, or 6, something like that.
Yeah, I'll share this tab right here.
Here we go.
This was November 29th, this is executive orders then. And then it was released, presented the year later. Yeah, so a year later, basically,
Okay.
like 10 months.
Okay. Yeah.
It's 1964. And made public 3 day, this was presented to President Johnson and 3 days after that.
Yeah.
All right.
So what we're talking, Mae Brussel didn't start doing her show until 1970. So we're talking, there's about 6 years there that she's studying this stuff and really starting. And what Mae would do is she subscribed to like maybe half a dozen or more newspapers and different magazines. And she would start clipping out articles, anything to do with the assassination or other suspicious things. And she started noticing certain names that kept coming up. And she made these, all these files and all of her notebooks that contained all this. And she would cross-file them 3 or 4 different ways. And after a while, she got such a huge library. And this is all coming from mainstream media newspapers. But back in the 60s, there was much more difference between the newspapers. They weren't all owned by, one particular conglomerate that, was going to have sort of the homogenized story for everyone, right? They had a lot more independent investigators going on, and the journalists had their own take on things.
Yeah, definitely. And so this is one thing I wanted, because you were talking about Dealey Plaza and how it was, and it was much smaller than you anticipated. And so here's a 3D model. I think I've seen this years ago, but I just pulled it up now. We'll just go over the mainstream narrative first. I think so. The mainstream narrative is that Oswald shot 3 times. Is that correct?
Boy.
I think it's Oswald.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. Yeah,
I think he shot one. That was, yeah. So one through the
bullets on the counter. They found these 3 bullets for the Mannlicher Gargano.
So here's a 3D model right here.
Okay.
Let's see if I can make it bigger. Okay. So here you can zoom in. And whoops, go back here. So there is the alleged stuff that happens. So where's the car? Okay, the bullets go from here. Apparently he shoots 3 times. Go to the animation. It's been a while. Okay, so. Okay, now it's in a different language. Okay, so it's not in English. But anyways, so okay, there's the shot right here. Apparently he shoots one in the net and was back of the head.
Is this the magic bullet one that went
yeah, so this is magic bullet. So they're saying that it went through him and then hit the guys in the back and then goes in the bottom. I don't know why it's not moving properly. Okay, let's go back here, move it here. Whoops. Okay, this is about hard. Yeah, you can see turn around. This is hard to that's how you shift. Okay, so you shift it around. So here's the apparently the magic bullet. So he shot him in the back, and then it did a greater than 90-degree turn. Or actually no, I mean less than 90 degrees. So this is a 30-degree turn, and it shifted. Why does it shift so much? This is unbelievable. So anyway, we're doing live research right now, and then apparently hits him, and then hits him in the leg as well. It looks like at his knee as well. Why is it going straight down to the ground? Sorry about this. I've never used this before. Okay, so it goes like this. So the magic bullet hits him in the neck, and I just want to go. Okay, there it is, and then go scroll down. Okay, so it goes like this, and then okay, yeah, there. It's a good one. So it goes through his neck or back, and then hits the guy in the back of the shoulder, and then goes straight down. Is that what's supposed to happen? Is that what actually supposed to happen?
Yeah, the magic bullet thing, yeah.
And then the other one apparently shoots him in the back, but then the video looks like it hits him in the front, if it's an actual bullet. So that was that. Yeah, I just wanted to show that part there. Yeah, so similar to I think in 9/11 they had the commission report, where it's one of those 9/11 commission. It's like I think in a way it's like purposely done to leave out a whole bunch of a whole bunch of holes, so everybody starts talking about it, as opposed to I think looking directly at the evidence there. And that's where the Zapruder film. That's the interesting part. Is there any other footage? Is that the only thing? Is the Zapruder film? Like,
I've heard there's another one that's on 16 millimeter, but I don't think that's ever gotten out to the public.
yeah.
There are photographs, and there's the Zapruder film, which of course Bill Cooper was saying has been tampered with. So
Yeah, several people are saying it's tampered with, but then in different amounts and so on. And I think, and the other thing is that Zapruder was I think a 33-degree Freemason. I forgot to look up Zapruder wiki. I think he was a Freemason.
in that case,
Yeah,
all
so
bets are off.
yeah, because he was a Freemason, and that's why he's the only. Apparently, he's like it's the only good footage that's been released, or the only footage released. And he's standing there. This is Freemason. Yeah. So Zapruder was a Freemason and an Inspector General, 33rd degree of the Scottish Rite.
Yike.
So what are the odds that the only one filming it
Yeah.
is a Freemason?
Yeah.
And what's interesting is it's again it's still fresh in my mind, the documentary I just saw, the JFK X. So the guy, let's see if I could pull it out if you know what the name is, his researcher. Let's see what his JFK X is. So it's on Tubi. It came out last year. It's free on Tubi, and the guy's name is starring Jay Widener. Have you heard about this name? I'll show you this tab. Jay Widener.
I think I have, yes.
So yeah, so he posted last year, and he's saying that it was a squib. Like he says that JFK put a squib on, and then his wife pulled the string, and it blows up, and then he goes back, and then apparently one of the metal plate in the squib, flew off. So then that's why his wife reached all the way back of the car to give it to the Secret Service. And then JFK apparently, so he ducked underneath. And so when they drove him out, apparently the storyline is he would duck underneath into the secret cabinet inside the car.
Uh-huh.
And then they would pull out the body of the that police officer that was killed. Apparently that was the only person killed, was the police officer. So and you know, apparently the nickname of that police officer who was nicknamed in the police building, or like in his whatever you call it, he was called, his nickname in his by his colleagues was JFK, because he looked like JFK. Did he know about that or no?
No.
Yeah, so apparently it was, yeah, and they mentioned the gun, the rifle, apparently that Oswald shot.
Mm-hmm.
They mentioned that seconds after, like the JFK event, and I think they were talking about, yeah, the in the radio it mentioned a specific gun right away, except apparently it wasn't disclosed like until 2 hours later, and so I gotta double check that. But we could play some of this video, or we can continue on. I just want to get your notes on this. So apparently they got the high quality footage and or used AI. I don't know if they used AI. I don't think they did. But let's see.
They have to tell.
Can you hear this audio right here? We'll play.
Commission that there's two splices in that
Just
film.
barely.
Oh, barely.
They have to tell the Warren Commission exactly how those two splices occurred.
Oh, so you can barely hear that one. Interesting. How about the audience?
And who was
So you'll have to increase your volume somehow. Well, I could talk it over.
We do not know the name of the technician.
So here's what his the storyline is. Yeah. So basically, he's saying, I want to see if I could find the original thing. But here's another part that I want to actually come across here. So even though there was only Zapruder film was released, there was someone with a big camera, but that was just videotaping the people's reactions. Yeah, this one right here, somewhere here. I'll see if I could fast forward it. Yeah, I think I could.
That little park behind the limo.
1 second.
That's all we see.
Sorry.
It's not only the crowd that did a vanishing act here in Dealey Plaza, but Dallas had 3 network affiliates. They had NBC.
So yeah, so apparently Dallas had 3 of the mainstream news affiliates, yet none of them were filming. Like, see the 3 big news organizations. I just want to play this here.
CBS and ABC.
It's a bit hard to hear.
And they did the Vanishing Act too. It's absolutely stunning that neither of those 3
I hear an echo. I don't know why I hear an echo. Oh, it's probably playing on yours, and then I'm picking up on it. But anyway,
networks with affiliates in Dallas would not have sent a cameraman down to film the president, the rock star president, and his wife, his beautiful wife. But they didn't. Otherwise, we'd have 4 films of the assassination. We'd have Zapruder, and then the ABC, the CBS, and the NBC cameraman would have their film too. But we don't. But they did. There is a cameraman. He's clearly a news cameraman. He has a 16mm Bolex, and he's filming bystanders right after the assassination.
Yeah, so apparently, yeah, so these were news affiliates with big cameras filming reactions of the bystanders after the alleged assassination, instead of actually aiming at the JFK the whole time. Yeah, so this one is interesting, and then I think one other giveaway was...
Why wasn't this cameraman...
Whoops. They in this documentary, they also show the first call between John F. Kennedy's wife and LBJ after he's president. Have you heard that one? It's like when they're talking, they're literally flirting with each other. There's no way around it.
Wow. Yeah, play that.
Okay, they're literally flirting. It's like it is absolutely bizarre. And also
shooting the parade, which is right.
And apparently JFK was also had Addison's disease, so he was like severely in pain as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll see if I can play that in this. I'll move this thing out of the way. Zapruder was a member of the Pentagon Masonic Lodge. Interesting. Yeah. So did you know that Zapruder was a Freemason, a 33 degree?
No, I did not.
Okay, yeah, that was the first thing when I looked it up. Actually, a couple years ago, when I was doing my Trump Trump predictive programming stuff. I was going over the JFK stuff, and what I always do is I go to Wikipedia and just search Freemason. Like, for example, Trump's his like spiritual leader or his the pastor that he looked up to growing up, and was also like when I told you about.
Right.
Yeah, that he was the officiator of his first wedding. He was part of the prosperity gospel movement. We're saying if you like have good intentions and whatnot, you can get rich, and so on. So he was a 33 degree Freemason as well, and he was also officiated like a family of Nixon and so on, and he was like Nixon's spiritual advisor too. So it's a lot of these Freemasons people. Okay, let's see if I can find up the part where she's talking to him. Yeah, this one right here. I think it's somewhere here. LBJ. Let's go. Let me know if you could hear it properly.
Okay.
Something to do.
And I think on your end, it's a bit hard. It's like auto playing it. It's like playing it and there's an echo. I think it's picking up from yours as well. I'll just play this anyways. Let's see this.
over here to give you a message if he ever saw
Make them see.
Is there any other evidence? Is there any
Okay, let me know if you could hear. Let me know if you have trouble hearing.
other evidence that the entire event was faked? On November 27th, just 5 days after being shot in the back with a high-powered rifle, Governor John Connally gave this interview.
This was I think Jack Ruby or no Jack Connally, the guy in the front. Yeah, the guy.
He was right in front of Kennedy.
Yeah, so he's talking. If you listen to talk, it's also doesn't seem like it's someone that got hit with a bullet. But we'll get fast forward. I think it's somewhere after. I thought I just had it. Where was it? Okay, I'm just fast forwarding until I can find. Okay, there it is. Yeah, so this is their first phone call, and it's literally like they're flirting. It doesn't make it's. Let's play this.
LBJ.
Mr. President?
I just wanted you to know you were loved and by so many and so much.
Oh, Mr.
I'm one of
President.
them.
I tried. I didn't dare bother you again, but I got Kenny O'Donnell over here to give you a message if he ever saw you. Did he give it to you yet?
No.
About my letter
No.
that was waiting for me last night?
Listen, sweetie, now, the first thing you gotta learn, you got some things to learn, and one of them is that you don't bother me. You give me strength.
But I wasn't going to send you in one more letter, and I was
Don't
just
send
scared
me
you'd
anything.
answer.
Don't send me anything. You just come over and put your arm around me. That's all you do. When you haven't got anything else to do, let's take a walk. Let's walk around the backyard and just let me tell you how much you mean to all of us and how we can carry on if you give us a little
But
strength.
you know what I want to say to you about that letter? I know how rare a letter is in a president's handwriting. Do you know that I've got more in your handwriting than I do in Jack's now?
Oh, what?
And for you to write it at this time and then to send me that thing today of, you know, your tape announcement and everything.
I want you to just know this, that I told my mama a long time ago when everybody else gave up about my election in 48.
Yeah.
My mother and my wife and my sisters and you females got a lot of courage that we men don't have. And so we have to rely on you and depend on you, and you got something to do. You got the president relying on you, and this is not the first one you had. So there are not many women, you know, run around with a good many presidents. So you just bear that in mind. You got the biggest job of your
She
life.
ran around with 2 presidents. That's what they'll say about me. Okay, anytime.
Goodbye, darling.
Thank you for
Bye.
calling, Mr. President.
That's what
Goodbye.
Do come back.
I will.
All right. You heard that properly?
Yeah. That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, and
It almost makes me think that Lyndon was really playing up to her, flattering her,
yeah.
and she was, you know, probably she had to think about where she was going to go from there in life, because, you know, she ended up marrying Onassis. That's very interesting.
Yeah, and apparently JFK was also having affairs and so on, even when they were married.
Oh yeah. I wanted to show.
And
This is a book here.
okay, let me make it bigger.
Yeah, you know that I just I read it some time ago, but this book it's just kind of it's a mainstream book. Okay, it's about the President Kennedy presidency. It's not about the assassination. It stops when it's called Profile of Power by Richard Reeves, and it stops once they land at Love Field in Dallas. Okay, so they don't go in to the assassination at all. But what you get to see, even though it's a mainstream book, obviously it's not going to have some of the really juicy dirt in there, but you get to see kind of what was going on in Camelot. And as you were saying about him having Atkins disease, and he also had a severely injured back. And so he was on all these meds. His doctor was constantly monitoring him and had him on all these drugs so he could get through the day. But one of the things that was a side effect for some of these drugs he was taking was an increased sexual urge. And he told a close friend of his that unless he had a woman at least once a week, and by a woman he means someone other than his wife, that he didn't feel right. So, like, he was having all sorts of, you know, actresses, big stars, and this stuff was going on all the time. They would bring them in, and I guess his wife must have known about this. So I imagine, you know, she had some mixed feelings about him. But it's now there's also, you were talking about that maybe really he was also gay as well.
Yeah. I think that's because he had a gay best friend, and some of the photos are pretty wild. And someone wrote a book that his gay best friend had a room in the White House.
It's possible. I don't know. I mean, I've never read about anything like that. It also could be an operation to kind of tarnish him, because they don't want people remembering him too well, because if you remember him really well, then you may want to start researching, and someone who wasn't awake may suddenly wake up to see how the secret government works and what's going on behind the scenes. So they might tarnish him every once in a while, or it might be true.
Because the photos are from his university days as well.
Yeah, that would be, that's what I figured. It had to be some really
and well, my view is like he wouldn't be president if there wasn't blackmail. I forgot which is the other president that would cross-dress. There was one of them, Edgar Hoover, I think. He was also cross-dressing.
Well, Edgar Hoover wasn't president. He was the head of the FBI.
I forgot. Well, I forgot which one it is. Is it President cross-dressing?
Well, we've got what a.
We have Edgar Hoover. He was American law enforcement. Okay, so he wasn't president. What was this one?
Yeah. And Jack Ruby also was.
So he wasn't president. Hoover sounds like a president's name. Okay, yeah. So he wasn't president, but he was.
Well, there was Herbert Hoover.
Yeah.
That's who you're confusing with Herbert Hoover.
Oh, Herbert. Oh, yeah. John Edward Hoover. I think he was. It's the first thing that comes up. Cross-dressing. Okay, why is the first thing that shows up when I search it up was G. Edgar Hoover. Okay, this is the truth about G. Edgar Hoover's. I'll share this tab. So again, I think a lot of presidents are onto something. Sick. Okay, the truth about G. Edgar Hoover's cross-dressing a woman's is part of American myth. Again, mainstream news is just tries to cover it up and so on. And that was that. And we'll go segue because we're talking about JFK's extravagances. JFK. I'll show this right here. And
they had a swimming pool installed. They built a swimming pool in the basement of the White House because of his back. He had this serious back injury, and his doctor wanted him to swim, if possible, every day.
Yeah. So you can see this photo right here with him with the back support thingy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's some other photos as well. Yeah. So and then him with the back.
Yeah, he would have to be on crutches sometimes, but then in front of the public, he would give the crutches, to somebody, and he would walk.
Yeah.
Yes. This guy was, in great pain a lot of the time, and he was high as a kite, but yet he could still function. He wasn't what you'd call a drug addict doing it for kicks. It was his doctor giving him this stuff to, also because of his Atkins, disease, and also because of his back problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but so this is the article about him and his gay best friend during school and so on. And there's some of them with a cute dog. But again, it was a gay best friend. It wasn't just like a normal person. And there's like a whole bunch of photos of them hanging out. And some of them are pretty telling right here. Like, so he's picking him up. So again, he's picking up his gay best friend over his head. There's another one where they're doing, I have it on my Telegram. Let's open up my pop up the Telegram. I'll go right here quickly. And I need to share the Telegram. Share Telegram, Windows, Telegram. Okay, so here's some photos of him in. Here's some other photos. What they're doing to. You can see this photo where they're upside down like that. Yeah, and they're holding each other, and again, it's like how do these photos exist?
Well, it can be some kids, some guys, some young man at school kind of screwing around and having fun, or...
yeah, but again, this is the 60s. This isn't like nowadays where you can at least say that...
Well, yeah, but I mean, back in the 60s, they wouldn't have identified these pictures as, that he's... The other guy's gay, right?
Yeah, and I think the book has the quotes from the guy actually saying that they were lovers. Like the best friend, I think he in the book also says he was.
Okay.
And there's videos too, and so on. So it's so basically, well, the reason I bring this up is just because it's like it's showing that the presidents aren't who they say they are. Is what the point I'm driving home. It's similar to Zapruder. Zapruder's a 33-degree Freemason, and the Bill Cooper video. I've seen it years ago. I forgot about it though. He's saying the whole Dealey Plaza and the whole event was like a giant Freemasonic ritual.
Yeah, there's all these. That's one of the videos that's in there. I think it's called The Sacrificed King.
Yeah.
So your viewers can get that as well. And that whole Dealey Plaza, there was the, the monolith, like that's supposed to be the giant penis, right? And there's all these Freemasonic symbols and everything in there. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. So this is a giant file you've sent me here. The JFK books, JFK documentaries. Was this is it in here, the Bill Cooper one? Because you've downloaded all of them.
Yeah, it should. There it is right there.
The Sacrifice King, yeah.
Sacrifice King, that one there.
Yeah, definitely see that. Let's see what pops up. And we won't play. I just want to go through some of the... Yeah, so guys, all the links and everything will be in here and so on. And he goes through all
He's
of them.
talking about the Masonic stuff right here for Dealey Plaza.
Yeah, Bill
And he
Cooper.
walks around with his camera and shows you things. It's ultra amateur kind of video, but it is so great for historical coverage of the plaza itself.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And Bill Cooper's an excellent speaker too. Like he,
Yeah, he's great.
I look up to the way he speaks. It's like no nonsense, straight to the point.
That's right.
And he calls out a lot of people. There's one of him calling out Alex Jones for like lying about him.
Oh gosh, yeah. Jones interviewed Cooper, I guess, to kind of get some prominence and some credibility, and then he turned around and claimed that Cooper did a bunch of things that he never did. And so that Cooper started watching Jones early on.
Yeah. Alex Jones. Yeah, that's the thing. Because he went on his show, he thought he was nice, and all of a sudden he's on the air saying that he was swearing in the broadcast and kicked him out. So it's like, what? I'm making up a lie like that. But yeah, Alex Jones or Bill Hicks, whichever one. Some people think he's Bill Hicks, and there's a lot of similarities. I don't know what your take is on that. Is he Bill Hicks?
No, Bill Hicks is somebody different. In fact, we have a Bill Hicks clip that I sent you. That's really a funny.
We could play that if you want.
Yeah, sure. It's a hysterical take on the assassination thing.
Okay, let's see. Where was this?
It's not in there. It would have been in the links.
Yeah.
The links that I sent you.
Oh, so the links. Okay, so I'll go into here and share this tab.
It was one of the last ones that I sent, so it might be down at the bottom. It'll say comedy.
Okay, let's go back up here and some clips and notes. I think we had Hicks right here. So a great comedy, Hicks Assassination. How long is this one? If it's not too long, we can play it.
Oh yeah, I should just play the whole thing. I think it's
about 6 minutes. All right, so play us while I lower my chair and get some coffee. Okay, let's play this and.
Kennedy.
Whoops! Oh, I can see it. Yeah.
I love talking about.
So here it is. Okay, let's go back here. Let me know if the audio is any. No, that was a great skit by Alex Jones. I mean, Bill Hicks. I couldn't help looking at it. I'm like, man, he just reminds me so much of Alex Jones.
Yeah, there is a facial similarity.
Well, and the talking, I think the humor similarity too. But like, and then you can see this. This thumbnail is literally. Yeah, I thought it was like a bit crazy saying he's really Bill Hicks, but I'm 50-50 right now. I wouldn't be surprised. Like this, can you see the thumbnail? I can see this thumbnail on the back. This BBC archive. Can you see that? It's literally. It looks like Bill Hicks. It looks like Alex Jones. I'm gonna do something here.
Bill.
Yeah, let's go back here. Yeah. So this is Alex Jones. I don't know. What you guys want from me? Why is Alex Jones doing a 1992 interview on BBC? Sorry. I can't. I just can't look. Yeah, I know. Can you see it?
Oh yeah, I can see there's a facial similarity. Sure.
Yeah. I know it's a bit out there, but it's like I just can't look at even
actually. We can relate this to the multiple Oswalds. There was several supposedly look-alike Oswalds. There's one named Billy Lovelady, and Billy Lovelady. They're also saying he worked at the bookstore depository. But if you really look at Billy Lovelady alongside Oswald, they're not dead ringers. I mean, there's a passing resemblance, but he doesn't look the same. Yeah. And I think if you put those two guys side by side, if you shave Jones when he was about the same age and put those two side by side, yeah, you could see a passing resemblance. Absolutely.
Definitely. But this photo, first time I've ever seen this photo. I think if you send it to people just pretending like it's Alex Jones, like here's a photo of Alex Jones when he was younger. No one would say, hey, that's not him. But the other thing is that Alex Jones, when he was younger, he was like really fit and built. It seemed a bit off.
He looked like he was a bodybuilder.
Yeah, and So this one is what I want to do have is a future live stream about is Bill Hicks, Alex Jones. If someone's an expert, if anyone's an expert in here, asking, I'm gonna put in the chat asking for Bill Hicks equals Alex Jones experts for a live stream.
Surely someone from the CIA can step forward. Come on.
Oh yeah. Also in the chat, there's a lot of experts. Somehow you've been doing JFK for years, and you're on the show. And I remember last year I literally said JFK will do it for next year, and now it's next year happened.
Yeah.
We scheduled the whole thing for it. Okay, Stephen Roach says Bill Hicks is not Alex Jones. All right, so we have a. All right. All right, so we have an expert. We need if there's someone that's on the Alex Jones equals Bill Hicks, and what I do want to do is a poll. Actually, that's a good poll right here. So I'll do a poll later. And it'd be like, okay, I'll do this right here, actually. We're doing a poll. So I'll share this. So I'm going to start to do that. Every live stream I'll do a poll. So what I'll do is quickly, we're going to ask people. I did it also for who's going to win the election. So most people voted Trump.
Mm-hmm.
So that was going to win. Let's see, let's present something else. I'll do this one quickly and then get back on the show. Just because I don't want to forget about this. This one's quite fascinating. Okay, so we're going to go right here. I'm going to go to poll. MES poll. When will... okay. This one is... This last one. I'll go... who is this... oh, no. I'll do a poll right here. Can I do a photo? I don't think I can do a photo. Oh, no. I can't do a photo. Oh, I can't do a photo. So I'll do it. I'll figure that out next time. All right. Sorry about that. I'll do the poll next time. If Jones was a smoker, then yes. All right, let's go back into the show. I want to JFK. We'll go over to that part. I think we had. I'll go to. I think I had a wiki on him. I'll just go to Tippett. No, Pickett. I mean Pickett. What was it? A Tippett.
Tippett. T-I.
Yeah, that's a strange name for me. Oh yeah, Tippett. So he was called JFK as his nickname. I'm gonna start closing some. I have a whole bunch of stuff opened. I'm gonna start closing some stuff here, and also let's see if we had people in here. Jackie Kennedy, his dress should be covered in blood if he was in the back seat bleeding all over, but just a few pin drops. Yeah, this person had a good comment right here. A good point. This was also made in the documentary as well. That JFK apparently he was shot in the neck. Or in the upper back or lower neck, and blowing his head off. But there was very little blood. I did notice that. If there's a way we find out how much blood we should have. So if you look at the video, there didn't show that much blood. So that's a good point there. This goes back on that squid.
Well, remember, Jackie was wearing a pink outfit, so blood wouldn't show that great on pink.
Yeah, well, I was thinking like just anywhere, blood splattering. Apparently he was shot there. Yeah, so if he went through his clothes, but then afterwards in the head one too. After the head, I would assume it would be blown up everywhere. But I would need to do a whole bunch of comparisons. And this is another reason I never looked at the JFK one, because when I do this kind of research, I try to compare, like do like an actual forensic one, and basically compare his head wound with actual head wounds, and I literally don't want to see 100 different head wounds. I don't want to see real, like I rather not know. I don't want to see a bunch of people's heads being blown off just to compare it. But I did a comparison with the Trump ear alleged piercing. Like so an actual ear would have been like actually blood everywhere, and whose eardrum would have been damaged, like Trump's one. But if you look at the actual what happened, and not like his ear is completely fine. Like there's nothing visible. Have you seen his ear recently?
No, not recently. Well, except maybe in some video he made a statement. But I mean, it's a side view. I can't really. Yeah. But I remember seeing shortly thereafterwards some pictures where they're showing that his ears supposedly completely healed.
Yeah, 2 weeks later, completely healed. But also the hearing as well. Because what happens is there's a literal sonic boom going past your ear, and just that pressure alone will vibrate your ear and the eardrum. Would be significantly damaged. Like you're not going to be able to like get up, and the first thought you're going to have is fight. You're going to be like, I can't hear anything. Like you would actually be, and it also nicked a bit of his ear. So it's like that's how close it was.
Right.
Yeah, and so that was. And also it was right before the Republican National Convention, and then all of a sudden he has a giant Band-Aid, and
Yeah.
but there's like no damage on it. Even Joe Rogan in his podcast literally told him, "Hey, there's nothing on your ear." He's like, he's trying to downplay that statement, but I'm like, even Joe Rogan's like, it healed up right away. Like, he's like, yeah, it's healed up. He didn't know what to say. All right, so that was that. I just want to check on Odyssey quickly if there's any comments. No one in Odyssey commented. Okay, so the other part I was going into before I lost. Oh yeah, I was closing a bunch of windows. And also let's just check in. We have 42 people right here in the stuff. You can see the chat. Jackie said on the plane that's not him. So apparently someone on Jackie said on the plane. Yeah, the wife said that's not him on the plane. So we'll go into that in a bit. I'll have some questions about to you about the alleged body switching of the JFK. Is that what you think happened or no? Like, do you think they switched bodies at all, or is it just JFK's actual body that they took around?
I really don't know, but yeah, I heard that they actually moved the body separately on a special plane. But that, there's so many different stories about that.
Yeah,
it's like what they did with the car. They sent the car that had been assassinated in right back to Detroit and had the whole thing stripped down and rebuilt. It's like when they shot RFK, Bobby Kennedy, at the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles. The first thing the LAPD was ordered to do was remove all of the panels on the walls which had bullet holes in them.
Oh,
in
wow.
other words, they just destroyed the complete crime scene.
Wow.
So yeah, they try and obliterate anything and control everything, right? So it wouldn't surprise me if the body had been sent on separate.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to know.
Yeah, and then because the JFK, the rich man's trick one. So their hypothesis is that the body was switched on with the air. There was two planes, Air Force 1 and 2. They're saying that it was switched with the what is his name? Pickett guy or Pickett or whatever.
Tippett?
Yeah, Tippett. I'll pop up right here. I'll see. His name is JFK, I think. His nickname.
But you might try JD Tippett, and then that'll give you some information.
Oh, Tippett right here. Yeah. Nickname. I think. Nickname. See Nick. I'll share this tab right here. Okay. So it's not showing up on Wikipedia that his nickname.
Where is it?
Yeah. So on Wikipedia right here. I'm gonna go Tippett nickname JFK because the documentary goes over his nickname is JFK and he looks like him.
Yeah, there is a passing resemblance. Absolutely. Yeah, it could be a brother.
Yeah, and yes, so his colleagues called him the Tippett of the Iceberg by Richard Luck, born uncanny. Let's see here, share here. Okay, so this is Tippett right here, or Tippett. It's just an awkward name. And then where's the JFK nickname? Yeah, so his colleagues called him JFK.
Mm-hmm.
And he was apparently so the mainstream news says that he was killed 45 minutes after. So if you go back to here, so the mainstream narrative says that he was shot and killed in a residential neighborhood in the Oak Cliff section of Dallas by Lee Harvey Oswald 45 minutes after the assassination.
Yeah, they tried to pin that on Oswald, but a witness, and this is in one of the Mark Lane, I think it's Mark Lane's Rush to Judgment, which your viewers have access to in the JFK files. They interviewed a woman who lived on that street, and what she saw was a heavy-set man with dark curly hair running from the scene. That she was saying that was the killer, and that sounds a lot like Jack Ruby. I think Jack Ruby was a very, very busy guy around that time.
Yeah, possibly. The Jack Ruby. He's the that nightclub owner, or what was he?
Yes, he was the nightclub owner of the Carousel nightclub, and that's where the Secret Service guys were partying the night before. It was connected to the mob. He used to be a hitman from the mob. There's just so many things that Ruby was involved in. Yeah, because
that JFKX one says that even the Oswald shooting was also fake. That's what they're saying. It was also a staged one, and they had a microphone like just above for some reason there was a microphone just above where they walking in, and Lee Harvey switched sweaters just before the shooting to a black sweater apparently for the because the cameras wouldn't pick up on his squib or whatever. And then apparently the squib was like high tech back then. Like no one there wasn't used in movies back then.
Okay.
So like apparently according to the movie, I need to double check on it. But again, this stuff is to me 9/11 is a big one. So that's the one I try to get everything in order.
Do I have a moment to bring in another book? I wanted to show this other book too.
Yeah, for sure. Let me just move some stuff. Yeah, just show the book. Well, just 1 second. I'm just gonna copy and paste. I'm copying and pasting the photo of Alex Jones, Bill Hicks in my personal remember what's it called? My personal notes. Just because it's just absolutely this photo. It's just I get like scared looking at this photo. This photo right here. I just get. It's like what is Alex Jones doing? Yeah, I don't know. Just something about it. Something about it. All right. Unless Alex Jones was cloned with him as a base layer, that could be it. Something. Okay. So. I'll stop sharing this one here. How do I stop sharing? And then I could show. You wanted to show your.
Yeah. Now this is a book. It's called Marita, One Woman's Extraordinary Tale of Love and Espionage from Castro to Kennedy. Marita. It was Marita Lawrence, and it's written, I guess, with a ghostwriter, Ted Schwartz. But Marita was. Contracted to kill Castro.
Mm-hmm.
And her mother was, I think, pretty high up in the NSA, and her father ran a special luxury cruise line, and she met Castro by accident. They were cruising around, I guess, the bay in Havana, and Castro wanted to come aboard this big luxury liner, and this beautiful young girl leads him on a tour, and he falls for her. They get involved. They have a child.
Wow.
And then there's some skullduggery, and I think the CIA may have been involved in this. Anyways, she is taken away from Cuba. Her child, and her child stays there, and she's taken back to the mainland. And they, I think, wanted to build a grudge that Marita would have against Castro. That Castro did this to her, whether he did or not, I don't think so. I think the CIA was doing something here. Anyways, they trained her as like a secret agent and to go back to kill Castro. And so she does go back, but she's still in love with the guy, and she won't kill him. She just can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So then she has to come back to the US, and they sort of punish her. She was a bad girl. She didn't fulfill her mission. But what she talks about in this book, it's a fun read. And if you have any lady viewers out there, if you want to read about an exciting woman's adventure as a secret agent, this is a great book. But it does have information about the President Kennedy assassination. She traveled with Frank Sturgis because she had been working with him in a special operation. They called it Operation 40. Anyways, they traveled with some shooters and also with a guy they called Ozzy. That could have been Lee Harvey Oswald, though he was supposed to be working in the book depository at this very same time. That's what I mean. Things get confusing. And who do you believe? But anyways, she went to Dallas. They checked into a motel. And she had a bad feeling. She didn't know why she was there. They didn't tell her what was about to happen. They just kept saying, this is the big one. You're going to want to be in on this. Because they were doing all sorts of secret operations. They were running guns. They were stealing boats. They were running all sorts of stuff down in Florida. So they're going across. They're in Dallas. And that night at the motel, E. Howard Hunt shows up, but he was called by another name. And later, he was the bagman. He was delivering money to Frank Sturgis, checking in to make sure they had everything. And then later, Jack Ruby shows up at this same hotel, checking in with him. And he sees Marita there. And he says, what the hell is this broad doing there? Get her out of here. I don't work with broads. And Marita was just fed up. She was fed up with these guys not telling her what the hell was going on. So she says, I want out. I want to leave. I want to go back to Florida. So that's what she did. She split without knowing what was about to happen. And then she finds out later. So again, it's just another really, really interesting book, another angle on this whole thing. Was Oswald really traveling with them, or was this a look-alike guy?
Yeah.
And not Billy Lovelady, another lookalike, maybe someone who looked even more like Oswald. So who knows?
Yeah, definitely. And also, this is a giant event in history, so you're going to have many different angles. Like, I think some of them purposely put in there, so no one knows really which angle is the correct one. So
Yeah, I think that's the real CIA thing. If you can't control something, then confuse the hell out of it so nobody knows what.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and but the interesting about Oswald, so he actually says he was a patsy on video. You heard him say, So he literally said he's a patsy. And in that JFK X1 documentary, they said that, so according to the mainstream narrative, that Oswald shot with the rifle 3 times in 6 seconds, apparently. But to reload the rifle, it's not that easy. You got to actually go and cock it back up, get back in. So it's like 6 seconds. You're literally not even aiming. You're just going to shoot. So it's like.
If we go to that clip from 2 Men in Dallas, is one of the videos in the Mark Lane folder that you have up in the JFK files.
Yeah, I'll open it up right here. So this is good. This one, you can direct me to it. I'll share this setup here. 1 second.
And I sent you the clip numbers. It's 2 men.
Yeah, I could. I copied and pasted into my notes, so I will look it up right here. So you said in the Mark Lane produced JFK docs.
Yeah, that's it.
And which is the controlled opposition guy that you think it was? Was that Mark Lane or a different guy?
Mark Lane. Lane. I think he's but
he's like an Alex Jones. Yeah.
There is some good information. Mm-hmm. And it's the 2 Men in Dallas, and there's a point to cue up to it where he talks about this is this is Officer Craig.
Okay, and then what was I'll put Dallas right here. Lee Harvey Oswald, you said 2 minute Dallas. So you said 8 minutes and 44 to 61. I'm going to copy this right here. So you put it right here. I'll just show you what I'm saying. So you said to go to the timestamps 8:44 to 16:21, and then 24:08 to 28.3. So what I'll go is I'll go over here and I'll paste this for myself. So 8:44 and share this tab, and we're going to go 8:44.
Yes, it's Roger D. Craig. He was voted as Patrolman of the Year in Dallas before the assassination. This guy was there up in the 6th floor depository, and this is what he saw.
Okay, so I'll play this right here.
Yeah.
To the south side of Elm Street to look for any signs of any bullet striking the curb or the street or anything.
He's talking about the actual shooting on the street, and he finds a piece of JFK's skull in the grass.
Oh, really? Let's see this.
By this time, it had been established that the president had been shot, and Deputy Sheriff Buddy Walters joined me at that time. Everybody was coming to the scene of the shooting, which is normal. People are just that way. But as I was searching the south curb of Elm Street, I heard a shrill whistle. And I looked up. It just drew my attention. It was coming from across the street. And there was a light green Rambler station wagon driving real slow west on Elm Street. And the driver was leaning over to his right, looking up at a man running down the grass. So I immediately tried to cross the street to take these 2 people into custody for questioning. Just, everybody else was coming to the scene. These were the only 2 people leaving. I mean, this was suspicious in my mind, at the time. So I wanted to talk to them. But I couldn't get across the street because the city officer who was stationed at Houston and Elm had left his post, and the traffic, was so heavy I just couldn't get across the street to him. But I did get a good look at the man coming down the grassy knoll. And he got in the station wagon, and they drove west on Elm Street.
The man that Roger Craig saw running down the grassy knoll and riding off in a light-colored station wagon was Lee Harvey Oswald.
It had been determined that the shots came from the southeast window. How, I don't know. The Dallas police were saying this, so we immediately went there. And Deputy Sheriff Luke Mooney was with me when we found the shells. We found 3 hulls beside the window on the 6th floor. And they were laying 3 in a row, not more than an inch.
This was breast, the 3 spent cartridges.
3 spent cartridges. They were lying 3 in a row, not more than an inch apart, all pointing in the same direction. Of course, I didn't touch them. They hadn't been photographed or fingerprinted or anything. I didn't touch those. And there was a lunch sack, very small, brown paper lunch sack up there. Had some chicken bones in it. And there was a soda bottle sitting on a box. And we began then to search for a weapon. And we started toward, everybody took a different direction, and Deputy Sheriff Boone and myself just happened to head for the northwest corner of the building. And Boone was ahead of me by about 8 feet. And there were a stack of boxes just at the head of the stairwell going downstairs. And Boone looked over into it and said, "Here it is. Here's the rifle." So I immediately went over beside him and looked over, and there was a rifle. But we didn't touch it until Captain Fritz and Lieutenant Day from the ID department of the Dallas Police Department got there. Now, Captain Fritz was Chief of Homicide, and Lieutenant Day was from the Identification Bureau. They got there and took some pictures of the rifle, and then I believe Dave pulled the rifle out and handed it to Captain Fritz, who held it up by the, had a strap on it. He held it up by the strap and asked if anyone knew what kind of rifle it was. Well, by this time, Deputy Constable Seymour Weitzman had joined us. And Weitzman was a gun buff. He had a sporting goods store at one time. He was very good with weapons. And he said it looks like a Mauser. And he walked over to Fritz. And Captain Fritz was holding the rifle up in the air. And I was standing next to Weitzman, who was standing next to Fritz. And we weren't any more than 6 or 8 inches from the rifle. And stamped right on the barrel of the rifle was 7.65 Mauser. And that's when Weitzman said it is a Mauser and pointed to the 7.65 Mauser stamp on the barrel.
There's an intonation to that statement that it should mean something.
Well, the shells we found came from a 6.5 Italian rifle.
You mean those 3 cartridges?
The two don't relate.
3 cartridges that were
found at the southeast corner.
In the southeast corner.
Came from a 6.5 Italian carbine.
The strongest element in the case against Lee Harvey Oswald was the Warren Commission's conclusion that his rifle had been found on the 6th floor of the book depository building. Yet Oswald never owned a 7.65 Mauser. When the FBI later reported that Oswald had purchased only a 6.5 Italian Mannlicher Carcano, the weapon at police headquarters in Dallas miraculously changed its size, its make, and its nationality. The Warren Commission concluded that a 6.5 Mannlicher Carcano, not a 7.65 German Mauser, had been discovered by the Dallas deputies. Yet Roger Craig's observation was supported by this affidavit signed by Dallas Deputy Constable Seymour Weitzman on November 23, 1963, in which he swore that he did discover a, quote, 7.65 Mauser, bolt action, equipped with a 4/18 scope with a thick leather brownish black sling to it, close quote. One of the members of the Warren Commission, then Congressman Gerald R. Ford of Grand Rapids, Michigan, wrote that the rumor that a German Mauser had been found was based upon a police officer having told a passing reporter that he thought he might have seen a Mauser. That explanation appears to be false. In view of Craig's statement, Weitzman's affidavit, a copy of which I gave to the Warren Commission and to Congressman Ford in 1964, and in the face of newly discovered documents, which we have just secured from the CIA files after having made an application under the newly amended Freedom of Information Act. Roger Craig never saw these documents, but they offer very strong corroboration for his statement. This CIA report, dated November 25th, 1963, just 3 days after the assassination, states that the murder weapon was a Mauser. And this CIA report, 3 days later, specifically states that the assertion, which later became the Warren Commission's cornerstone in the case against Oswald, the assertion that the murder weapon was a Mannlicher Carcano, is in error. Thus, Craig's original observation, buttressed by Deputy Constable Weitzman and the CIA's investigation, tends to destroy the case against Oswald.
Were any slugs found?
Yeah, that was fascinating. So it's basically they got the wrong gun, they switched it up, and in the JFK X documentary, they said that there was a forensic test done. I think it's called a paraffin test.
Right, that was to see if you had fired a weapon.
Yeah, and they concluded that Oswald didn't fire anything.
Yes.
Yeah, so we got that, and then we have the different gun switching, and now you have a 2408 to 28. Let's see this one here. 2408. Let's play here.
That afternoon, after Officer Tippit was killed, they took a suspect into custody. And I was thinking about this man getting away from me.
This was the man that got into the Green Rambler.
The Green Rambler. And I called Captain Fritz at his office and gave him a description of the man I saw get into the Rambler. And he told me, and I quote him, "It sounds like the suspect we have in custody. Come on up and take a look at him." So I went out and got in my unmarked car and drove to the City Hall, went directly to Captain Fritz's office. And we went into Captain Fritz's inner office, and the man was sitting in a chair behind a desk. And there was another gentleman. I assumed he was one of Fritz's people because he had the white cowboy hat on, which was the trademark at that time of the Dallas Homicide Bureau. And Fritz turned to me and said, "Is this the man you saw?" I said, "Yes." And it was. It was. So he turned to the suspect and he said, "This man saw you leave." At which time the suspect became a little excited. And he said, "I told you people I did." And Fritz said, "Now take it easy, son," talking to the suspect. He said, "We're just trying to find out what happened here." He said, "What about the car?" I didn't say station wagon. He said, "What about the car?" At which time the suspect leaned forward and put both hands up on the desk and said, "That station wagon belongs to Mrs. Payne. Don't try to drag her into this."
Mrs. Payne and her friends had played a major role in the life of Lee Harvey Oswald. She brought Oswald's wife to Texas from New Orleans and invited her to live in her home. Oswald came to Dallas from Louisiana because of Mrs. Payne. Mrs. Payne and her friends got Oswald a job in the book depository building on the President's motorcade route. And after Oswald was arrested, Mrs. Payne told him she would get a lawyer for him. He relied upon Mrs. Payne to get him an attorney. She never did call a lawyer, and Oswald died without having been able to give his side of the story to counsel. Mrs. Payne owned a light-colored station wagon.
Then he leaned back and very disgustedly said, "Everybody will know who I am now." Now, this was not a brag. I know it's been blown up to be a brag in the Warren Commission, but this was not a brag. This was a man that
He was
you catch in a
embarrassed
building
about
at
it.
night, you know, after it's locked. This is like somebody who's trying to steal something and you catch him at it.
He was embarrassed about it.
Or disgusted that he had blown his cover or been caught or something. You know, it wasn't a brag.
Craig's crucial observation that Oswald feared that his cover might be blown is better understood in the context of newly discovered information. Arrest Pena, a man who worked for the FBI in New Orleans in 1963, has recently said that Oswald also worked for the FBI in New Orleans at that time, and that they were supervised by the same FBI agent, Warren DeBreeze. Pena said that he was afraid to tell that to the Warren Commission because Warren DeBreeze, now the special agent for the FBI in charge of their office in San Juan, Puerto Rico, threatened to kill him if he testified truthfully before the Warren Commission. And William Walter, who...
All right, yeah. So that's fascinating. So basically, Oswald as well was working with the FBI.
Yeah, now Oswald, I think originally he was with the Marines. He got into ONI. They trained him in Russian, and apparently he learned Russian so fast and so well that Russians couldn't tell that he wasn't a Russian. He was that good. And this kid's just in his early 20s. Then he apparently was loaned out to the CIA for a special program where they sponsored defectors. So Oswald defects to Russia, renounces American citizenship, and it was quite a harangue he went through there. But I think the reason they did it was they wanted Oswald to give some information about some of their radar systems and also about the U-2 spy planes, because they wanted the Russians to shoot down, if possible, one of the spy planes, which they did. Gary Powers was in it, so they could sabotage the peace talks going on in Paris. Now, this is something that Mae Brussel talked about. This is her theory about it. But then with Oswald, when his mission's complete over there, and he also starts a romantic liaison with Marina, and her father has connections, I think, to the KGB. Anyways, they get married, and they're going to come back to the U.S. He writes a special letter to a senator. Anyways, it's expedited, even though he has renounced his American citizenship. He's given back his citizenship. He gets his passports and Marina's, all these immigration documents, just like that. And boom, he comes back to the U.S. I mean, who could do that? Obviously, he was on assignment, and they were just facilitating this for him. Yeah, we should probably actually look at Oswald once he's been arrested. I know we have some clips on that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. One point I want to make is, so from the documentary JFKX, they said that when that Tippett died, or when he was apparently shot, the witness said that it was, so the witness called police saying that they think it was Lee Harvey Oswald as a suspect because he was inside the movie theater watching a movie.
Well, no, they arrested him in the Texas movie theater. And he was armed. He apparently had a gun. That's where they came and surrounded it. So someone blew the whistle on where he was. Yeah, that's where they arrested him.
Yeah, so he was watching a movie after the alleged shooting. And also there's people in the chat, one person saying, DT, Matthew tries very hard to hide the Israeli connection to JFK and 9/11. It's like just a troll there. Anyways, I'll just say stop trolling. It's like everyone ignores my point. I'm saying all countries are just irrelevant. There's no Israel, there's no U.S. It's all just one world government, according to my.
JFK was trying to, at that time, eliminate or trying to shut down Israel control. There was an organization that was a Zionist organization that JFK wanted listed as a foreign agent, and they didn't want to do that. So there is an angle on that for sure, that he was trying to stop that. And so was Bobby Kennedy. trying to stop the control of the Zionist Israeli type control of government and government officials.
Yeah, no, I understand as well, but my view is that's a script as well.
Yeah. It could, sure. At the very highest levels, sure.
Well, the reason is, it's like that's the script because I think the Israel's going to be it's like center stage for the World War III, which I think my view is that will happen, and so Israel's is propped up as on alt media as it's running everything. And then so basically you get, but then the U.S. is all sided with it, so you're going to have a polarizing effect where you either support Israel or support or you're or a Zionist. Yeah, you're anti-Semite if you don't support them. You're a Zionist if you do support them. And I think eventually they'll be used as World War III. But I also think Israel will get destroyed in the World War III, and then a United Nations type world government starts there. Because, like, for example, the United Nations is all about one world government, and it's headquartered in Manhattan, and Trump World Tower's right in United Nations Plaza. Have you ever seen Trump World Tower? It was built in 2001, and it's on United Nations Plaza. It's called Trump World I think it's Trump World building, something like that. Trump One World building, something like that. Anyways, and now recently, what you also see is that there's a lot of calls, like the International Criminal Court or something along that lines, is charging Netanyahu for war crimes, for genocide, and so you have the United Nations and other countries pushing to say that Israel's doing war crimes, but this is the same one world government entity that supposedly is a globalist. They're saying Israel's a bad guy, and then I think there was a vote to either. I think call it that or limit fighting in there or whatnot. But then the USA vetoed the vote against that. I'll see what that is. U.S. vetoed United Nations Israel. I think war crimes or something. I have to double check that. But basically what I'm trying to get at is the same globalist mumbo jumbo peeps are the same ones saying they're literally saying the same talking point like that the alt media wants to hear. So it's like, which side are you guys on? Are you guys on the United Nations side or alt media side? So basically, here's a post here. U.S. vetoes Security Council resolution on Gaza. I think they all voted. Against. Except this is a permanent ceasefire. So this was 3 days ago, November 20th. As the conflict continues in Gaza and Lebanon, the United States vetoed the latest resolution on Gaza in the United Security Council in New York, which demanded an immediate and unconditional permanent ceasefire, as well as the release of all hostages and full humanitarian access for civilians. I think only U.S. vetoed it all.
Yeah, that's usually what happens.
Yeah, and then 9/11 Vision says, nope, the one world is built in Europe, the black nobility. No, I'm saying we live in a one world system. Like we've been born in it. You've been living in it. Nothing is fundamentally different now than it was any time before, according to my humble opinion. And I want to go one more thing. Gaza, I think Palestine. Yeah, this one right here. I'll show this one. Yeah, this is the arrest warrant, and just to drive home the point. So we're all, if my view is, if you're siding with any one nation or country, as if they're some sort of a good or as if they're uniquely good or bad, I think there's something wrong there. So situation. This is the International Criminal Court. So a situation in the state of Palestine, ICC pre-trial chamber 1 rejects the state of Israel's challenges to jurisdiction and issues warrants of arrest for Benjamin Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant. I think he's like a former Israeli defense minister or something like that. And then it's just to drive home the point. Situation. This is from the International Criminal Court, and you can see their stuff up. See their Wikipedia. They were created by the United Nations or given mandate by the United Nations. And and you can share this tab right here, and I'll just open this up. Oops, I'll close this tab. Go to Wikipedia. I like Wikipedia for mainstream info. It just gives you directly everything, and then search up United Nations. So this is the International Criminal Court, and then the United Nations. It was given a mandate. So in 1948, again after World War II, United Nations was all being given power and so on. And again, I think that's part of the script. General Assembly first recognized the need for a permanent international court to deal with atrocities of the kind prosecuted after World War II. So again, you're getting Israel being labeled as genocide and so on, which they are. But again, it's all scripted because even the Palestine leaders, they're no different. They're just they're all following the script for the struggle. Okay, Chris Hampton showed where the power structures, black nobility, and Jesuits. And again, it's like we can't ignore 9/11 free energy stuff. There's people in the chat saying that specific people are doing specific things. But I'm saying, yeah, they're obviously they're all at the higher ups of every single organization and country. It's the same thing, in my opinion. They're being run by the same thing. But anyways, that was a sidetrack there.
I've been using going off on that idea about your scripted stuff in my latest cartoons.
Okay, let me pull this out. Yeah, you have cartoons extraordinaire. I'm going to go to your Art Gravican. Let's go to your...
you go to Dissident Voice.
Oh, Dissident Voice? Do you have some in the Hive? This is a peaked. Would you have them in here as well, or is it just Dissident's Voice?
I would just go to Dissident Voice, that link that you have for that one. That's...
Yeah, Dissident Voice, I think.
They've been really good about doing
good.
a lot of the ones I've been sending in lately. Sometimes they don't
yeah.
Publish some of the ones I send them. They don't like it. So
this
one.
And this one is, which one is
well, the deep state at the top. I mean, that's
this one, deep state. Let's see this one.
Yeah, what you were just talking about.
Yeah, this is another thing. It's another coup for the deep state. The majority think their savior has returned. Another of our well-crafted scripts in action. Operation Warp Speedster 2.0. Yeah. Yeah, speaking of Warp Speed, Trump literally just went out and praised Operation Warp Speed.
Yeah, I know.
Recently, literally,
Catherine Austin Fitz has been criticizing him. I don't know whether I can totally trust Catherine because her father worked for the Rockefeller Foundation. So
yeah,
and she used to work for Dillon Reed, which is a company or an investment firm that actually helped finance Adolf Hitler. So I don't know, but she's a smart lady, and some of her stuff's pretty interesting.
Yeah, but again, I think my view is the 9/11 litmus test. It's like the big one. And speaking of litmus test, yeah, because the 9/11 revisionist and Chris Hampton, they're saying power structures in the black nobility Jesuits. Well, the thing is, they've passed the 9/11 litmus test, so they get more credence to look at that. So, but then anyone else saying that, they gotta get the 9/11 correct. So it's according to that. What was the person's name you were saying? I forgot her name.
Catherine Austin Fitz. She mentions directed energy weapons, but she never mentions Dr. Judy Wood that I know of.
Yeah, so that's a big one. You get 9/11 right, and then it's free rolling. So this is Trump a few days ago, last week. We're coming up to the 5-year anniversary of COVID, and if you recall, under President Trump's leadership, we had incredible public health policies. President Trump's unparalleled creation of Operation Warp Speed.
Yeah.
Was like we've never seen before, and so on. And someone commented in my post on Telegram saying that their mom and nephew, I think, or family member, got severely ill from that.
Well, you know what the Q crowd was saying to try and prop up Trump about, which was that if he hadn't done Operation Warp Speed, they would have kept everyone locked down for however many years, right? And I thought, my God, these guys, I mean, they want to believe that stuff.
Well, but also I think they're like the ones at the top leading that are being like obviously steering this. They're obviously got some government affiliations there because it's absolutely ridiculous. So it's 5G chess. So to prevent lockdowns, he would inject billions of people with billions of doses of nanotechnology. I did see the nanotechnology documentary or video by Richard Hall. That is very interesting. That's
Yeah, Dr. Mike Yeadon is saying that he doesn't believe there is nanotech. And you were talking about that La Quinta Colomba, that they're now going to talk about flat Earth. Right?
Yeah, but the Richard Hall one, he did show that there's others looking into it, and that the sample he got, he was able to find something there. But the thing is, how do you get these samples?
He says a viewer sent them to him, and they were sealed.
Yeah, but you could seal anything, and because he's not a normal person. He's not like a normal person. Hey, my friend just gave me a sample. It's like he's Richard Hall. You'll have actual operations done on him. So yeah,
Sure.
yeah. But I wouldn't rule it out just because the all the papers they do talk about nanotech and so on, and there's got to be something there to it. But I need to see something like very very like practical in a way where you could actually repeat it.
Too bad you can't get your hands on some via your brother.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's hard. Apparently, they lock it up and like right away, or they destroy them after X amount of time. So but that's another sign of saying you shouldn't take them if there's like not only you don't know what's inside them, but they also won't let you go and check them out for yourself. It's like
Yeah, there's a lot of secrecy around it, and apparently the inserts were blank. You know, I don't know if they still are, but yeah, they were in the inserts inside to tell you what's in the actual vaccine were completely blank. Remember seeing videos about that?
No, I think I briefly saw something about it, but I did not look too much into that part. And but definitely again the secrecy, the fact that again you're injecting random stuff. Where we're still alive, nothing happened.
Because we didn't take it. That's why we stayed clear of that stuff.
Yeah, we didn't take it. Yeah, and our parents. I remember our cousins. Actually, some of them were like brainwashed. They were saying that we're putting our own parents in danger for telling them not to get the jibby jabby.
Total nonsense.
Yeah. So it's like they literally thought that, but I'm like they're still healthy and going strong. Like what is going on here? Nobody. Is anyone gonna apologize and like?
No, they won't.
And pay me for the trauma I had to endure?
No, they're not gonna. They're never gonna say anything.
All right.
They're just trying to forget about it.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I just want to bring up here in my Odyssey. In the Rumble chat, there's a whole bunch of people going at it as well. And I think they're similar. They're blaming. I think someone's blaming Jews for everything. Sorry. Anyways, it's a. People's got to understand how all the reality is, and basically my philosophy is don't blame anybody, do something about it. Like it's like if you blame XYZ, fundamentally I think it's not going to change anything, even if they were the ones. Because like if free energy exists, you got to create it. You can't just say, oh, these people are suppressing. Just do it yourself. That's where my life goal is to push that out. So and then other people go do the name calling or arguing on who's doing X, Y, Z. Yeah, they can do all this, but you still got to do something about it. And I am a no violence person, so I'm not going after anybody. Okay, going back into yes, you wanted to show more clips, and I also had a bunch of notes as well. We can read that after.
Looks like we only got 5 minutes.
Do we have 5 minutes? We have unlimited time. That's up to you.
Oh, I see.
What gave you a 5-minute time frame?
Oh, I thought you were going 1 to 3. How long are you going to today?
No, it's up to you. You're the guest. One time I told 9/11 revisionists we have 2 hours because he was in it and he wanted to present about I think Building 7 or some other stuff. And he went 5 hours. I'm like, oh, that's a bit much.
I don't think I can go that long, man.
Yeah, so up to you. If we have 5 minutes or how much time do you want? Up to you. We could even end it now if you.
How about we have another 15 minutes?
Okay, we'll do a time. Yeah, 15 minutes. We'll be good to go. So it's 2:55 right now. So 3:10 we'll end it, or 3:11 would be a good time because that's when JFK. No, that's when the COVID was announced. The pandemic was declared. So we're gonna go. I'm gonna put a quick timer, 15 minutes or 3:11. I'm gonna go to timer right here and then stopwatch or not stopwatch. We're gonna go alarm clock. Just do 3:11. So that gives us enough time. PM. So 14:36. Let's go. And so you wanted to show other stuff right here.
Yeah, but let me just go over a couple of things so people when they're looking through the files. Regarding Lee Harvey Oswald, I don't know if you've had a chance to put the links in, but Lee Harvey Oswald's favorite TV show when he was a kid.
Yeah, I put that up.
Was I Led 3 Lives. And we've got season 2 and 3 that you can get on archive. Not that you're going to want to watch the whole thing. But the point is, I Led 3 Lives starred Richard Carlson as Herbert Philbrick. And it was based on a book called I Led 3 Lives, supposedly a true story about an FBI counter spy who joined the Communist Party, and he was helping the FBI undermine the communist takeover in America. And Oswald saw this show and he loved it, he lived it, and he wanted to be basically this kind of a spy. And that's why he eventually got into doing that kind of work. But it really backfired on him.
Yeah. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I had it posted. I didn't refresh. Now there it is. Okay, Lee Harvey Oswald's I Led 3 Lives. I'm gonna refresh.
Well, it's not his show. It's his favorite.
Yeah, his favorite show. His favorite show. I'm gonna put that in. Where in that link you sent, does it say he? That's what he said. His favorite show. Details.
No, somebody said that about him. It was an article I read years ago. Or it was in a book.
Okay.
And that was something. And also, when you're going through all the files, there's a woman named Judith Very Baker. She was a whiz kid, kind of like Matt here, super smart in science and everything. And in high school, she was doing experiments. She was down in Florida. She was doing experiments in cancer, studying cancer. And a man named, I think it was Alton Oshner, recruited her, pulled her out of university, wouldn't even let her go to university because she was so bright, and put her in a special lab in the New Orleans area to work on creating a fast-acting cancer. In other words, a cancer they could give people and kill people really quickly, because apparently they wanted to kill Castro this way. It was another one of the plots. And Lee Harvey Oswald was assigned to Judith Very Baker as kind of like her bodyguard, and he ended up becoming her assistant in the lab. Oswald was apparently an extremely bright young man. I know he looks kind of, like an oddball, but the guy was supposed to be really smart.
Yeah. And where was it in the folder right here? Which the one that you bring up, the Judith and Oswald stuff? I have the folder right here.
Okay. Oh yeah, I think it would be in the Men Who Killed Kennedy.
Okay.
And it would be in the censored episodes. Now, something you're going to notice about some of these, they're AVI files, and I noticed that when I played them, I'm on Linux, and when I played them with my VLC player, they needed index building before they play. So you may want to convert them to another video file.
Yeah, it's a VLC sometimes doesn't play properly. What I do is just open up with the built-in Windows one. So I have them. I'll play this right here. It should play even online. Let's say here right here.
Okay.
It's MPG. Okay, so something is up here where it's not playing. It's not just VLC. It's not even playing here. Interesting. It's not even playing online. So what I'll do is I'll try one thing to see if we could call it. Is this JFK documentaries? Mark Lane. Let's say Men Who Killed. Censored episodes. Okay, let's see if it plays right here. A media player. I'm playing on my own personal thing if it plays. So it's not playing there. The Men Who Killed. This one is playing. This one would play.
Hello, I'm
This is the one. 45 minutes. So that one, this one is playing. This one, but the other ones aren't playing. Is there an issue with those? Yeah, I'm getting another part. It says, "Oh, MPEG video extension, get right here." But you could see this video, right? This isn't the one that you wanted to that you were talking about?
I'm not sure. It's the love affair one. And it should say.
What does it say?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
It's all right. Okay, so this one, because there's 3 right here. These are all the men who killed. How do I make it details? Show details. Censored episode. 1 second. I'm just gonna do something up top here. It's all the name just covers up. Yeah, the love affair is the 8 and 9. Okay, so the love affair would be. Okay, why isn't it showing details? The names. I just don't know why.
You don't actually have to play it, but I'm just trying to tell people about.
No, I know. Yeah, I just want to show it. I just have an issue with when things don't show me properly. Okay, there it is. So this one here, 8 and 9, the love affair. So this is the one that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. I will play that later. I'll tell people how to play it. You get a bunch of stuff here. I got to download something. Should we install? I'll just go maybe later. Yeah, I'll do maybe later.
Of the United States.
Oh, it's playing right now.
On the streets of Dallas.
Okay, yeah, so it will play. You just got to download an extra plugins and so on, but it will play. It says I needed to download MPEG something. But yeah, so that'll be good.
And another thing we never got a chance to cover was the Clint Murchison meeting. Madeline Brown was LBJ's lover, even though he was married. He had a lover.
So LBJ's and JFK's wife. What was his wife's name? JFK's wife, according to that.
Jacqueline.
Oh, Jacqueline. Yeah. So Jackie
Bouvier Kennedy.
Yeah, according to that first call they had after the assassination, they and she even joked about she's like, oh, I'm gonna be remembered as a gal that ran with two presidents. Like, all right. So. But again, these are my views. Like, these presidents, their family members all involved in like these big Diddy parties. Diddy's not the only one with the parties.
On the eve of Kennedy's assassination, she attended a
Okay,
party.
this one right here. Here's the Murchison meeting.
Yeah, here you go.
So let's play this one right here. This is Madeline Brown alleged that a meeting was held night before Kennedy's assassination during a party at the home of Texas oil billionaires Clint Murchison. So Edgar Hoover was there, FBI director, and who would later be put in charge in an investigation of the president's murder. Let's play this.
Party at this house in North Dallas, the family home of oil billionaire Clint Murchison Sr. There was an extraordinary guest list that night.
We had H.L. Hunt, Murchison, Lyndon Johnson made an appearance. We had Hoover, we had Richard Nixon. They were the most influential people there. But I was under the impression that since J. Edgar Hoover was there, that it was to honor Hoover rather than anything else. When Lyndon came in, no one was expecting him. So when Lyndon arrived at Clint Murchison's, they all went into a conference room, and you could just feel the atmosphere. And when Lyndon came out, I was, of course, happy to see him. I did not know that he was going to be there. And he whispered in my ear at that time, those blank-de-blank Kennedys will never embarrass me again. That's no threat, that's a promise. So he departed. The party rapidly broke up after Lyndon departed.
A seamstress and companion, May Newman, provides confirmation that this party took place at the Murchison family home on the eve of the assassination. She lived and worked in another Murchison house in Dallas for Virginia, Clint Sr.'s second wife. She speaks here for the first time.
I started working for Virginia Murchison in 1962 until her death in 1997, approximately 36 years. I remember well the night before the assassination. I worked with a man called Jewel Pfeiffer, black man, which was Virginia Murchison's chauffeur. He got a call from her stepson, John, at the big house. They were having a big party for a very special guest that was coming from Washington to go to the party by the name of Bulldog, which I found out later was J. Edgar Hoover. And he said he was very excited about doing this, going on this trip out to the airport to take this special guest to a very special party, big party. And I asked him when he came back if he got a good tip, and he said no, and he was very, very upset. He had to go back that night to take J. Edgar Hoover to the airport to go back to Washington. And he still didn't get a tip.
Further verification of Hoover's presence in Dallas on the eve of the assassination came from a friend of May's who worked at the Murchison family home.
Beulah May Holman, she was the cook at John and Lupe's house, and she wanted me to go help her that night, which I didn't, but I knew she told me she was cooking quail, and I wanted the recipe, so she gave it to me. She said that it was a very important guest by the name of J. Edgar Hoover that was coming in, and I should go out and help her so I could get to meet him. If it was a film star, I probably would have gone, but I didn't know who he was. No, not at that time.
All right, yeah. So they're all meeting up way beforehand, and J. Edgar Hoover. He was the Edgar Hoover. He's the cross-dressing one, right? Or did I get the?
Yes. Yeah, that's correct. And then there's so many, there's such a huge cast of characters with the JFK assassination. Dorothy Kilgallen was a reporter. She was also on a show back in the 60s called What's My Line? And she's the one that interviewed Jack Ruby. And she was going to blow the story wide open, she said, but she was murdered.
Wow.
Yeah, at her apartment in New York.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just, there's just...
Yeah, it is. And apparently JFK's lover, Mary something, she was also apparently killed 11 months after the assassination. But apparently even that one, according to the JFKX, it says that was likely faked as well. And because apparently possibly to go, so then they go live together in some island that was owned by the person that Jackie Kennedy married. So Jackie Kennedy married that rich guy.
Onassis.
Yeah, Onassis, and apparently he has like islands. So they probably went and lived in one.
He had a lot of things.
Yeah.
And then there's another character named Colonel Fletcher Prouty, and Colonel Fletcher Prouty was X in Oliver Stone's JFK, played by Donald Sutherland.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people, tout him as being this great whistleblower, was part of the intelligence community, and then went to the side of good and all that. But I don't know. Once CIA, always CIA. The problem with Prouty was he would give information to Mae Brussel, but he would mislead her sometimes and give her some bad information.
Wow.
So, you got to be careful about some of these people.
Yeah, definitely. And the other part about that affair, so JFK had an affair with Mary. She died 11 months, and apparently she had married the head of CIA.
Whoa.
And then so the head of CIA, that's the JFKX one. So I recommend you going over it because it's a lot of info that I assumed you would have known, but they never mentioned Zapruder was 33-degree Freemason. It's like nobody mentions that.
No.
Yeah, that one. I thought Bill Cooper had mentioned it, didn't he? Didn't he mention it?
He may have.
Yeah, because I looked it up and that was very, very interesting stuff there. And so the JFKX one. I think I want to read some notes. I made some bunch of notes here about it, so I'll read it before we have a minute or two left. I'll read what I have because just in case I forget. But also what I noted was a lot of these JFK documentaries. They give the rationale and so on, where it's like it's like pretty much mundane. The reasoning, they would say, in JFKX they say, he faked his death because he didn't want to be president anymore, blah blah blah. The only person that I think puts it in the grand scale, that's the accurate one, was Bill Cooper. It's telling about this is like a sacrifice of the king, mumbo jumbo, but like it's like a big Freemasonic ritual. It's not just some sort of small scale or individual grudge. But then the other one, JFK to 9/11, I think everything's a rich man's trick. I think there's also similar. They're saying the mob involved and they botched it a lot of stuff like that. But I think there is a very overwhelming power that's doing these psyops. That's not just your run-of-the-mill random people in intelligence agencies or whatnot. I think the intelligence agencies are literally designed for these events. So I'll read these notes and then just let me know what your thoughts are on this. So apparently Andrew Johnson switched his view from rich man's trick. Apparently he looked at that and now he shared a JFKX one. JFKX, and I think he. Well, in the video, he didn't really make a full statement, but he did say it was really well done, and he thinks it was, that's possible. That could be possible as well. So I wanted to make a note. So Oswald killed Tippit and worked in a movie theater. That's, apparently Oswald, the mainstream narrative. So forensics test or paraffin test showed that no gunpowder on him from the rifle, and his rifle was mentioned before officially found hours later. Yeah, so they showed the radio one where they mentioned the exact rifle that officially was stated, but they do it right away. So somehow they know. The person in the radio. So they mentioned 9/11 disinfo agent James Fetzer at 4450 mark. And so he created a group to look at the Zapruder film and claimed it was a hoax, but he was not sure why it was. And also, again, Fetzer, if you read my Telegram and other streams, he's a disinfo agent. But this documentary, they kind of point out, but they don't say he's a disinfo agent. They just say, he didn't understand how squib tech worked. So anyways, Zapruder film had splices, 3 bullets by Oswald in 6 seconds is official story. but very hard to reload rapidly with that gun. And rifles are really loud. There's another part here, because I do like that they look at this forensic stuff. So they're saying that the rifles are really loud, so any nearby shot would have been heard by everyone, but no one reacted in the Zapruder film like that, and no one said they saw someone actually shoot. Is that true? He's saying that nobody said that they saw someone actually shoot a gun.
Who is they? Who is they?
The documentary JFKX said that none of the witnesses.
Okay, I've not seen JFKX.
Yeah, but they're saying that none of the witnesses. So they, as in the witnesses.
You're talking about all the witnesses in the
in
Daily Plaza.
In Daily Plaza, it said that none of the witnesses saw someone actually shoot.
They apparently. Well, if you go through the Men Who Killed Kennedy, those documentaries, they do have some witnesses that came forward that claim that they saw some people with guns.
Okay. With guns, no, that is but I'm saying actually shoot, because there were, I think there were people around with guns, but I think that's possibly with the get everyone misdirected.
Yeah, that's why with Mark Lane pushing the grassy knoll so much, and this is what Mae Brussel commented on, was that I just wouldn't trust Lane. Okay, I just want people to know that if this is a subject you really want to dive deep into, get the Mae Brussel radio shows and start at the beginning, because really what you're studying is history, and you're studying how the deep state works, particularly the alphabet agencies, how they run all these psyops, and how they run all of these spy operations domestically, all around us, you know.
Definitely. I 100% agree with that. Just the JFK X one, the difference between that and like the other ones is well, the majority of it they still do talk about all this surrounding stuff, but they do focus a big chunk in the center about the official claim, like the actual claims and evidence that they're making, and that's the kind of stuff where I got involved in 9/11. I like looking at the evidence. Everything else that follows, that's just it's like how it's done, like who's doing it, how's CIA running it all, or Zionists or whatever. I kind of look at just what's the actual evidence that we can send to people or in a courtroom and say this is XYZ. So for example, the Oswald having different guns, the test on him showing that there's no like he didn't shoot anything. That's a forensic evidence that you can go take it to court and sue the government over. And so on. But then, so another part here is speaking about the gun. So according to its witnesses, and again, to see if you can confirm this or not, because you said that, there were people seen with guns, but the question is, did anyone see someone actually shoot? And then Zapruder in the film, he doesn't react to bullets either. He's just continuous motion. And the JFKX is arguing that there were no actual bullets, and that an actual bullet, especially if it's a grassy knoll or anything, would be super, super, super loud.
Well, unless they use silencers. It's something they never talk about.
That's the thing. That's one of those. They might, in case they have some super like silent one. But then if they admit to that, then what they do is they rule out. That's an automatic. Oh, the government story is fake. Then okay, they're using some. Actually, no. Yeah, so because the gun didn't have a silencer, the official gun didn't have a silencer. Yeah. So that's a good point. That's a good counterpoint you had there. This one here is arguing that there was no bullets, but then if they have a silencer and so on, that could be one statement there. And then what I'll do is I'll play this video. Yeah, it's running out of time. I'll read these out, and we could play the video in slow motion just to see what you think, and then we'll just end it there. So it seems likely,
just do what you need to do.
Yeah, I just want to go over this just because you have a time limit. We passed the time limit, and I want to.
It's okay. Sure. It's all right. Yeah. It's all right.
Because I just want to read this, because otherwise I'll never read this in a long time. Because I have a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, go for it.
What you gotta do. And also, you're invited to the JFK anniversary 2025. So if you're interested in that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it'll be a good way. So then we can regroup and then gather all the info that we've shared and so on, and then and go from there.
You said you had another JFK expert. I'm not an expert.
Oh no,
I'm not an expert.
No. Someone sent me this. Someone said that they saw the JFKX and they were really convinced, and they said I had to watch it before the stream. So I like forced myself to watch it just before we started talking. And it was very interesting. So basically, it seems likely that JFK used a squib, barely any blood anywhere from neck or head wound, an actual rifle. I'm just writing the notes that I did while I was making it.
Sure.
An actual rifle would have thrown his head back right away, not a few frames later. But then, interestingly, the best evidence is that disinfo agent Jim Fetzer says the squib is airbrushed / video shopped into it, and he was helped Ace Baker push the video fakery on 9/11 to cover up the I think some sort of advanced 3D image projection on 9/11. For the quote planes. So, and then also apparently the JFKX says only 8 or 9 people in the world knew what a squib was, and so Jackie Kennedy grabbed the squib metal plate and gave it to Secret Service. So you saw after the shooting or whatever happened after his head exploded, she went back and then she went back in as well. Did you saw that where she?
Well, yeah, she gets up on the
back of the car. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many different stories, Lenny Bruce, the comedian, said she was hauling ass to save ass, but I don't think so. I think she was trying to get the Secret Service agent who was behind the car get their attention because nobody seemed to be doing anything,
Well, the thing is, her head blown up. Something's has got.
Nobody's and the Secret Service aren't doing anything.
So the thing is, she runs there and it gets back on there. MES, has your guest or you not heard about the ace in the hole shooter hiding beside the car when the car stopped in the storm drain, the drain in the curb?
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah, that's a JFKX one. Yeah,
I think that is in the Men Who Killed Kennedy. I think there's a video in there that covers that. That's another one. Yeah, there's just so many. It's what I mean is like, it's up to you. You decide what you think.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true.
I've been looking at this stuff for 50 years, and I'll tell you, I don't know.
Yeah, because that's the thing. There's very, very little footage. All we have is a Zapruder film to pretty much go by in terms of like the actual like seeing this happened, and then you have to account for witnesses and so on. But it's still governed by what we saw there, unless the video is all fake. But yeah, so Jeremy, so I did see that. I made notes there. Says basically the JFK to 9/11 says there was 8 shooters and a final kill shot was from the sewer. And they said that the video was edited to make it to cut out the part where it stopped. They're saying the car stopped and they shot him. But then I think it was a bit too much. They said it was a young guy going in there in the sewer and it was all like nasty and so on. But I think that person could have been in there as part of the script because right now I'm leaning towards a squib until otherwise just because it's. But then the thing is that squib is hard too. It's like, how do you put it there and not make it visible to anybody, or how big is it? So again, I am undecided because this is I think this video is more of a brainstorming one. I think next year 2025 is when we stamp out what we actually think happened and see if we can get some consensus. Because I do like your point where we get all the info and then make up your decision. But I think we will decide in 2025. The official what happened and what we're willing to put our money where our mouth is. All right. So and also So in the JFK accident, this says the cop looked like JFK was killed 45 minutes after, but then apparently it was. But JFK says he was killed before. To use as JFK corpse to make it look like he was shot from the back. Bus driver was in on it. Body and casket switched at hospital. But then it was switched in the airplane. Well, they took both bodies in the airplane, but then this one says that the body was just switched in the cabinet of the car. So anyways, continue reading this and then we'll play it and then end it quickly. So seems likely that JFK used a squib, barely any blood anywhere from neck wound or head wound. An actual rifle would have thrown his head back right away, not a few frames later. Best evidence is that the disinfo agent Jim Fetzer says the squib is airbrush video shopped in it. So I think when Jim Fetzer showed up in the JFKX, that gave me like, all right, we have a known disinfo agent covering up advanced tech. I think JFKX might be onto something here, but even then, I think they're not pushing the full. At least the full narrative is a bit off. So, anyways, only 9. So and it says that his wife went back and gave that metal piece of the squib to the security service and then went back in. That's what his story is there. And also, Zapruder film changed to make cars smaller and down lower to avoid showing the wife pull the squid string, and the people in the back are bigger than the front. So that was an interesting point. And no reason for Zapruder to get off frame. Yeah, because Zapruder was filming. No reason for him to just all of a sudden like go high above so that JFK is like actually at the bottom of the frame. He would have centered it the whole time. I don't see why he would move it. And also, but again, even if the snipers are not, JFK, I mean, Zapruder didn't react as if any shooting. But again, he's a 33-degree Freemason, so obviously he knows what's going on. he always knows there's a shooting. He got it in his email newsletter. It's like, guys, prepare yourself. All right, Oswald's shooting by Jack Ruby was also staged. There was a microphone. Oswald suddenly wearing a black sweater, and no autopsy photos were released. So yeah, so no autopsy were released for the Oswald. The photos weren't released. So Oswald was literally arrested originally for the Tippit alleged shooting because someone said they saw him in the movie, and Oswald himself said he was just a patsy. And if you look at the interview, it sounds like he didn't even know JFK was shot. So Tippit's body pulled out in panic room in the car. JFK goes in, and blood on seat is from Tippit. So have you seen the photo of the blood on the seat?
No.
So there's a photo of the empty car full of blood, but then this guy saying it was arguing that it was from Tippit's body when it was flipped over, when it switched, when they drove away, because there was blood on it, but not during the video. You can't see barely any blood anywhere until after, when they're showing the crime scene. They're like, oh, look, all this blood, and so on. So Tippit was shot, and also Tippit was shot in the back of his head and front of his neck to try to make it look like JFK's story. So apparently he was shot twice in the head to make it look like the JFK story. So that's another interesting tidbit. And he was also, his nickname is JFK. So only Zapruder film, aka 33-degree Freemason, but no footage from 3 big MSN News affiliates. But someone with a professional camera was filming reactions, but not the car. And JFK's wife and new president LBJ were flirting in first phone call after fake assassination. JFK also had Addison's disease and was in pain. Both JFK and wife had affairs, and JFK even had one with Mary, whom later married head of CIA. And her sister married CIA asset and Washington Post editor that wrote about Watergate, and also, got Nixon in trouble, apparently. And also, JFK probably liked men, too. Mary allegedly died 11 months later in a fake shooting, likely went to live with JFK in the Rich Man's Islands that JFK's wife's married soon after. Okay, that's that. And also, one last thing I'm powering through, because I want to... the other part is Oswald I. Oswald eye. So Oswald has a weird eye thingy. So go eye. Yeah, he has a weird droopy eye. So JFK has a weird left eye. And there's a thing called Columbo. So I'm not sure if I showed you, but I showed you my live stream. So you know Madeleine McCann, that the missing girl in that British, you know, the famous Madeleine McCann case?
I'm going to look into that.
Oh, sorry, I showed here. No, this one here, I'm showing this now. You know this Madeleine McCann? Have you probably seen her photo everywhere?
Yeah, Richard Hall has done a series on that.
Yeah, so look at her right eye there. Can you see that? It's called a Columbo, or like a hole in the iris or retina or whatnot. Mm-hmm. So it's called Columbo. It's like the, I'm showing this one here. You can see it Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Yeah, so view tab, Wikipedia there. Yeah, you can see that's a Columbo. It's like a hole in the eye. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you can see my screen. Yeah, meaning defect is a hole in one of the structures of the eye, such as the iris, retina, and you can see there's ocular columba is relatively uncommon, affecting less than 1 in every 10,000 people. Okay.
Okay.
So so 1 out of 10,000, less than that, have columbo, have a hole in the eye, and then all of a sudden you have the most famous missing person in the world in like history is Madeleine McCann. And she has a Columbo, all right? Mm-hmm. So you can see her eye there. And not just her, George Soros has a Columbo, okay? Not just him, Lee Harvey Oswald has Columbo, all right? You can see, if you look at it closely, he literally has a hole in his iris there.
Okay.
So Lee Harvey Oswald, and also, if you followed Pizzagate, I was following Pizzagate back then, and Jimmy Comet, literally the pedo, I wouldn't even say alleged. He's like, this is his actual Instagram post, and they're all talking about kids and like literally nasty stuff. You can see that all the friends are all talking about kids and so on. But if you look at the photo, the baby in one of his photos has Columbo, and has money in its mouth, etc. Because Alphonse is a sick guy. And also the photo he has, Jimmy Comet's photo, his Instagram photo, is a statue of one of the Roman gods of that was like a child lover or whatnot. Anyways, so that's that. And then also the left eye of both Oswald and JFK were a bit weird. Oswald has a weird like indent in his like it's like a weird bruising on his left eye.
Mm-hmm.
And JFK has a weird, it's like a bit lagging slash they're not in sync, and so on. Yeah, his left eye is a bit out of there, so you can see they're looking cross-eyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in his left eye, even as a kid, it's a bit different than that.
Uh-huh.
And this is the Columbo on the Oswald. And also, if you've seen Jay Leno recently got beat up. No, apparently he fell down. He fell down apparently, and then his eye. Jay Leno eye. So Jay Leno apparently fell down, and he's like completely bruised up, and his left eye is all swollen. So something's going on to these people. So you can see him here.
On earth happened to Jay Leno?
This is recent.
Look at my eye.
Yeah, so he got beat down with. So anyway, so I'm going off topic. So that's that. I want to bring that up. And the last thing, I'm gonna see if I could find it in the video, and then we'll end it here. We'll see where the main footage here where he uses. Let's see this guy's storyline, and then we could let's go here.
You could kind of detach your own vendors right after the.
Whoops.
They responded.
Were balanced towards the blue.
Yeah, I don't like how it's on Tubi. If it was on YouTube, I could search up exactly what I wanted with text. So I'm gonna go back here. Let's see where the actual the shooting is. Okay, I just want to see if I can show the whole thing.
Links are gone to prove the film is a hoax, but nothing that is presented actually sticks. That is not to say that everything they found is wrong. Far from it. Many of the things that these very good researchers discovered has merit. As we shall see, they misinterpret this odd evidence. One of the largest problems working with the Zapruder film is that there were no good prints of it. All the purloined films were copies of copies, and they had massive grain buildup, making the film difficult to view. This was cleared up slightly with the release of the DVD in 1997. But even that copy was filled with imperfections, as James Fetzer has pointed out. In recent years, technology has been created that allows filmmakers to take very old films and process them.
The only thing I did realize, the only thing that raises some questions is they do use AI upscaling to try to make it all neat and tidy. So they try to. So that's the one thing that's a caveat to this whole squib thingy.
To get rid of
but nonetheless, the forensic stuff I think is very interesting there.
Flaws.
Okay, it says here if you show the stream will get age restricted. It happens to me. Okay, so it might get age restricted, or if you show the actual explosion there. Just want to see if I can go.
Researchers. If
actually, okay, well I'll go fast forward into the. Actually, we'll just. It's just hard to find exactly where it is. The one where he goes down. I mean, it shows that the. It's possibly edited. Yeah, let's go see here. Yeah, okay, here's the one talking about squids.
The side of his head. And what you see is reflecting in the afternoon sunlight, you can see the squib roll up like a window shade up his cheek and flying off his cheek.
Let's see what
And that's what Jackie is retrieving. She's retrieving the plate from the squib because it's evidence of fakery. She gets up, she doesn't even care that her husband has just been shot in the head right next to her. She lets him fall into the seat, and then she gets up and she grabs what I believe is the metal plate. I believe Secret Service agent Clint Hill also saw the metal plate flying, so he must have known what was going on. He may have even retrieved the plate and hands it to her. Either way, she grabs it and then jumps back in the car and it speeds away.
So that's interesting. And then I'll see if I can show the blood, and I think we're done.
Shows, of course.
The blood in the. I'll just Google it quickly. Okay, so that's a JFK car blood. Let's see if we can find it on images here. Yeah, so this is the blood that is apparently.
Oh, I see.
Oh, visit weird picture. I don't know why it's not showing me this. Share this weird picture. Okay, there's the blood.
Oh yeah.
And it's not even in the center. I mean, it's not even in where he was there. And it's showing there. So he's sitting on the right side. So there's the blood. Apparently, and the guy's arguing that there's a secret cabinet underneath for like a panic room for when anything happens, the president hides underneath. And then he would go under there and then take the dead body of Tippett replace. But anyways, this is all next level. It's more towards end. Okay, if you show. Alright, so this is, I wanted to brainstorm all this, so I think this is cool stuff there. And I think we're pretty much done now.
Okay.
Is there anything else you wanted to
well, just for anyone that wants to do their own deep dive and wants to study, we have given you some amazing files and some books that are so hard to get a hold of. It's not funny. So it took years to put all that together. So I hope it's of use to someone out there that really wants to, do the research.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to do the research, and you could join the stream next anniversary. So I'll try to do this. If I'm still doing live streams, I'll do one, every anniversary of JFK. So, so if anyone wants to be an expert, get all the info and that we've put up here or your own. And then it's also literally on the 22nd. So today was the 23rd, and it's a Saturday, so that's why we did it, because I do it Saturdays. So this is more of a brainstorming, except next year is the 22nd November is on Saturday, so that's the official one where, Alan, you're more than welcome to join if you're interested. I'll let you know a month or two before the stream starts, saying you're in, and if anyone else that becomes an expert in the meantime, I think Methyl Miner is becoming an expert in the chat, so he can join as well, so we can have a three-way and so on, and going over, and I think I think that stream, I want to try to actually pinpoint exactly what happened. I think once you get that, I think that's gonna be pretty epic. So if you're interested in that, I will let you know. Again, a month before, I'll let you know JFK live stream is gonna happen.
Okay, all right, sounds good.
And you got to put your money where your mouth is. So you got to actually pick what exactly happened. There's no more. What do you guys think? It's like similar to 9/11. 9/11. If you ask me, it was directed energy weapons and directed energy planes. And hurricane control, and it's anything and everything. And JFK, so basically the squib versus shot in the front. So you think he was shot? Where do you think he was shot from, if he was shot?
Well, that's why I wanted you to do the trajectory study to determine, did it really come from the knoll, or did it come more from the overpass that they were coming to?
Yeah, yeah, but the thing is, it's still from the front. I think whatever it is, it's coming literally from. If he's sitting here, it's coming this side. Yeah, the front, my side. Yeah, so that's another thing I'll have to do as well, because like I said, this stream was done right when I was in when I was in California all week, and I literally finally got back. So this is brainstorming. Yeah, so I will do that for 2025. So that's the thing, and we'll have a 3D model set up.
Okay.
So we'll make the conclusion of where the direction of the bullet, if there was a bullet, where it would come from, and if it matches I think it's either the sewer or the grassy knoll. But the JFK, the rich man's one, they said that there was a shot from the grassy knoll, but it didn't hit the grass somewhere there in the back. It didn't hit him, and he said that there was 8 shots or something like that, and 2 hit. And the kill shot was in the sewer, but I think it's just a bit too haphazard. So for the squib one, if I'm voting, I'll do a poll as well before JFK assassination next year. I'll do a poll. What do you guys think happened? And then we'll do one after maybe, and then see what the voting is, and we'll go with that. All right. So that is that's all for today then, guys. So anything else you want to say to the audience and so on? And it was a great stream.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Yeah, and I'll type it in right here in the chat. Thanks for joining, everyone. Have a great weekend. All right, no, great stuff, guys. And and I'm gonna go take a nap. All right, great having you as always, Alan. Always a great show, and I've been doing qigong still more routinely. It's pretty good.
Oh, I've got some information for you, Alan. I'll email you.
Yeah.
I've discovered some interesting things.
Yeah, let me know all your insights. Yeah, I use it as my, whenever, if I use the computer too much and, my head's all over the place now, I just go do some qigong and just, get reset. It's like restarting the computer. It restarts the brain. It's great stuff. All right, that's all for today, guys. Thanks for all joining me to end the stream now. Here, I'm going to click 3, 2, 1.
Thanks for having me on.